Good morning. It's Monday, March 17th, 8:30 a.m. and we are now in session. We're going to start with Central Services update.
Good morning, Commissioners. So on the iPad here, I just got this text from Chris at 2 o'clock Sunday morning. Come on. Somebody went through the fence at North Campground Sunday morning.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, they went all the way across Airway Drive through the fence, damaged one of our water fountains, and then out. Jim is trying to get the police report right now, so he's working on it. Quite a bit of damage. We're really lucky that this didn't happen at fair. That would have been full of tent campers. So, yeah.
They didn't get caught?
Well, we're not sure, so we're waiting to get the police reports. There was a report, so I'm assuming that Moses Lake PD caught them.
I can't imagine that they got away. Why wouldn't they have called us?
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Oh, yep. And they've got the quite a bit of repair.
What do they do? Fall asleep and just run through it all? Or run through it on purpose?
Probably wrong.
But probably what I can do is, well, I'll get more to that in a second here. I have an idea on a pretty quick way to fix that, but. So yeah, that's ongoing. Just got that text a little while ago from Chris. And we'll see if Jim is successful in getting the police report from Moses Lake PD. So I'll start here with GCTS. Things are going well for the most part. Since my return from DC, we've been having a lot of discussions regarding AI and cybersecurity in more depth. We're still gathering some data to provide a brief to the BOCC. I think the board should be a bit more aware of how we do some of what we do to keep our data safe. And I know, Rob, I spoke with you briefly about this. You had talked about me being able to do it just in my weekly update. I think that's a good idea, but I think prior to that, I am going to schedule kind of a separate meeting to try and explain the programs, what they cost, why they're important, and then they'll make a lot more sense as we go through and just kind of do an update in my other weekly updates. Facilities continues to grapple with personnel. A new maintenance 4 is starting today. So we're hoping that it's going to be stable for a while. We'll be fully manned once again. We continue to discuss some of the issues of a public works, and I know Kevin is having a regular meeting with Andy about the future landscape and what we all want that to look like. And those discussions are ongoing, but they're ongoing. You should have all seen an email that I sent to Michelle. I just felt that since she's the auditor and election security is under her purview, she should be aware of the Secretary of State meeting that took place, where we are and where the Secretary of State is going, what they're doing in regard to how they might affect how we do business here at Grant County. So I didn't get a response, but at least I know I'm keeping her in the loop on that stuff.
That's in regards to the Albert Sensor.
Yeah. And I also sent an email to Homeland Security. That's who manages that. So Center for Internet Security is under Homeland. I don't think a response will be forthcoming, but I can at least say that I've done what I can. Another person that I met over there was Clay Ward, who's with the VA. I emailed him. He's nationally on the Rural Affairs Desk. He's going to research to see if there is a department that would be looking to purchase Samaritan and provide inpatient services for the veteran population in Grant County and the surrounding counties. This is in response to Anthony approaching me and stating someone at the VA had contacted him. But it's been crickets since then. And while in DC, Clay Ward, this gentleman at the VA, spoke to the VA's desire to expand services in rural areas and areas with a growing veteran population, which we have. I did loop Joe Kunkel into that conversation, and so kind of for me, this is a handoff. I've facilitated the introduction, and if they can work something out, they'll work something out.
Sure.
The morgue, I sent you all the email from Vivian Ramsey, and I brought it with me. I did print this out so you can kind of see what they're talking about. On that property, the shape does reach out and touch Ram Road just a little bit.
See it, yeah.
Yeah, so pretty expensive piece of property when you start looking at the required improvements, and I'm not sure what the board wants to do there. To me, it's back to looking at the port property again, but I'd certainly, if you guys had the time, I know Cindy's online and has an appointment, but Rob, if you had a chance to review that at all?
Which one?
That property, that email that I sent from Vivian Ramsey.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. Thoughts on that? Is that a property you think we should continue to pursue or with that?
I mean, for me, I haven't really wavered at all through this whole thing. I haven't liked the port options.
Yeah.
Not at all. So that's kind of where I'm at. So if that's the route the county wants to go, and then it is what it is. But to me, it just, for the same money, it seems like you could get something in a better location. So I think the county-owned property that they want to trade for is way better than what maybe it would appraise at, and I think it's better than the other options by far. So that's kind of where I haven't really wavered from there.
The property we own.
Yeah, it's way better than any of the options that have been shown to me, keeping it for the future. So
Yeah, I would agree in some ways. I talked to an appraiser here in town about our property that we currently own and the piece that they want to trade for. And his remark to me was, why aren't you doing it? You're trading light industrial, heavy industrial for a C2 or commercial property. He felt that the light industrial would be a better fit, especially for what we're wanting to do. His other comment was, why would you want to put a coroner's office right there at the entrance to the college?
well, because it doesn't look like coroner's office, and science is college. So I mean, you could argue all sides of that, but I guess that's just where I'm at. I haven't really changed. I still think that, but I mean, they could go in either spot.
Yeah. Well, we're past the tipping point where we're gonna have a coroner's office before the hospital is built. So if we want to continue the search for land, I guess we can.
Tom, I'm in favor of continuing on that new parcel if the other two as well. I think it is a better location. It's closer to the hospital. So, and I was trying to read the kind of the stipulations that the city is putting on. I think all of them, all of the new properties there will have to follow that stipulation. I don't think that one was singled out.
That might be true. That might be true. I think we should, before we commit to a property like that, though, we should try and figure out what some of those development costs would be and what that's going to add. Because I think, you know, in that location, it's a little bit vague, you know, exactly how much they expect, if it's the entirety of Ram Road, which to some point, to some part, it sounds like. You know, and I mean, that could be significant.
Right.
So, yeah, let me finish my thought on that. Also last week, I had another discussion with Joe Kunkel, who is desiring to set up a meeting to discuss the coroner's office operations. He knows that we're not going to have a coroner's office built by the time they occupy the new hospital. So he wants to get together and have a discussion about the current location, possibilities of keeping it open, what that might look like, who takes care of what, and I'm sure that also the discussion about the invoices would come up as well. So that might, you know, we can, as we navigate that, I think we can continue to look for other parcels that maybe wouldn't be quite so expensive. I could even reach out to Vivian and say, do you know, Do you know of any other parcels that are in that area that don't have these covenants attached? And maybe she knows. But as far as the meeting with Joe Kunkel and the hospital board, would you like me to go ahead and try and set that up in the next week or so? See what your schedule is the next week or the week after, and try and get that scheduled here?
But yeah, we need to know what their thoughts are as far as allowing us to stay there. For the time being, at least.
Okay. Thoughts, Rob?
Yeah, same, I mean, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Any comment on that, Cindy?
Yeah, no, and I know we need to pay that bill. We have been in the hospital rent-free for years, so it is a big bill. But I think we probably need to pay for it. And it would be good to visit with him so we know what, if we're allowed to stay longer. And it sounded like we could, but yeah, let's get it in writing and verify.
I'm still waiting for a signed contract from Cascade Construction on the building next door. There's a contractor that's kind of trying to game the bid process as well. We're a signature away from having a fully formed contract with Cascade Construction, so it's not really a big deal. But one of the losing contractors, when he sent his bid in, there was a requirement that there's a list of subcontractors and their costs. In the bid document, it said that this was for internal use only. We would provide a list of the subcontractors, but not their pricing. He's wanting to get copies of the entire bid packet for everybody. And I've already told him no, and he's asked again. So I sent him, and his list of subcontractors, he listed himself in almost every one of them. He was going to self-perform stuff that he can't self-perform, and he didn't give the pricing. So I pointed out the areas of the bid document that preclude us from doing that, told him why we won't do it, told him why there was an issue with the way he did it, and that I'll wait to see if we get a public records request for this now. But I've also informed the prosecutor just so I know that I don't have to provide that, because I don't think I do. They tend, if you start to provide that data, some of these subcontractors, they'll provide pricing to different contractors. I mean, I'll give you a better example. On this specific bid, Pro Electric gave their price to 4 contractors, and it was different to all 4 contractors. Now, what that negotiation is with those various contractors, I don't know, but it's none of the other contractors' business. It's that was the bid. So
right.
I'll tell you all that Pro Contractor gave their number to everybody, but it's your relationship to manage, and I'm not going to get in the middle of that. So, but it was stated in the bid, so when you submit the bid document, so when you submit a bid, you're agreeing to what's in the bid document. So, so we'll see what happens with that. I had to delay the bid opening, so I had 3 bid openings tomorrow for the fairgrounds. One of those I had to delay, and that's for the bleachers.
Still no permit.
No, I got the plans late Thursday afternoon. And I asked Jerry how it was going numerous times. He goes, it's pre-engineered, there's not going to be any comments. Lo and behold, there was a comment, and it was kind of a big deal. So this pre-engineered set of bleachers requires a concrete slab, and the slab details in the prints. And I talked to Jerry about it, and he indicated that there probably wouldn't be any comments. So I went ahead and, trying to be expeditious, put the bid out. He's requiring the pad be frost protected, have a turned down footing with go down 18 inches to a 12-inch wide footing all the way around the slab. Well, the slab is like 34 by 65. So that's a ton of expense. So I had to Friday send out an addendum. And that I know that that's going to add enough cost that all of these contractors bidding that are going to have to go out and get a new bid bond, because that cost is going to be very inaccurate. So that's been delayed a week. I haven't gotten any pushback from any of the contractors. Some of them have even said, okay, thanks, we'll redo our bid bond, we'll add that cost. So what's worrisome is we're doing this through a grant, a direct legislative grant from Tom Dent. We had $250,000 in that, and that had to include the purchase of the bleachers and this work that we're doing. when we first looked at the set of bleachers and the rodeo association said yes, we'd actually saved them quite a bit of money. The bleachers they were looking at were significantly more expensive. So then they asked, can we customize them? I said, well, don't know. You know, that's going to change the price. So they talked about what they wanted. They wanted some ADA seating that was kind of down in front. So we sent that, and they sent us back a new price, and it was still within the budget, and gave me about $60,000 to do this slab. And when I went out and got pricing from various contractors saying, you know, give me one of these before I put it out to bid so I have an idea whether or not we should even be doing this and accept the changes to the bleachers. The contractors I talked to gave me pricing that was still within the budget. So I was fairly comfortable that, okay, this shouldn't be a problem. Well, with that change, it's going to be interesting to see if when the bids come back, how much that adds to it, and if we still stay under that $250,000 cap. So we may have to review that and figure out how to complete that project. Or tell the rodeo association, you just get the bleachers without any ADA seating, you know, just, so we'll see what happens. So that's kind of what's in place. So that was delayed a week. But tomorrow we do have the bid opening in the afternoon for the water additions to the horse barns, the 5 nobles that we moved down in the back rodeo area, and a bid opening for the electrical improvements to those barns is tomorrow. And let's see, yeah, and then April 1st will be the slab opening. Also, as one follow-up, Rob, for the Washington State Association of Counties County Administrator Conference is coming up April 9 to 11. I have a call into Todd Milkey. He is the county administrator for Clallam County. He was also a 3-term commissioner in Spokane County. What's interesting is when I had my legislative update with the county administrator group, Derek said he was going to call you and wanted to talk to you directly about your attending. And I asked why, and he said there's a roundtable where all of the county administrators are getting together and they're going to have a really robust conversation on how to best converse and discuss things and get ideas and work with their commissioners. He goes, so they might not be comfortable, they're not really comfortable with a commissioner being there. Well, I know that at least 2 of them are former county commissioners. So that's what I'm calling Todd to get his take on this, just because I think that's a really curious statement.
Well, that's what I talked to him for like 30 minutes.
Oh, did you? Okay.
And I told him, you know, why I wanted to go, but the point was I don't need to go the whole time. I'll go one day. I kind of told him what I thought about their opinion of that too, because
yeah,
the county administrator doesn't want commissioners there because of whatever reason, then why would I want the county administrator?
Yeah.
Because now that's the whole reason you wouldn't want one, is because they're trying to keep information away from you, essentially, right? So I told him that too. I said, well, it doesn't really help like their cause in their ideology on this, but he just said they want to be able to talk and they don't want anyone to, you know, relay it back to their own commissioners and make them. I just said, well,
that's weird.
I told him
it's counterintuitive.
It sounded kind of stupid in my opinion, but I said, I understand what you're saying.
I understand it, but at the same time, if there's one relationship in county government that has to be really open and transparent.
Sure think it was that one.
It was that one. Yeah, there shouldn't.
Yeah, that's basically what I told him that repeatedly, just like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So has that changed your plans at all, or do you want me to keep your room?
I would like to go one day.
Okay.
But I don't really necessarily care to stay.
Okay, so I'll cancel your room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll come over one like mid-morning, stay the day, and then.
All right, and I'm going to call Derek and say, hey, since he's just coming over for one day or staying part of the day or whatever.
I don't pay the full fee.
Yeah, I shouldn't have to pay it at all.
Yeah.
So I'll call Derek and make sure. So, and with that, I didn't have too much more to talk about. I was trying to get ready for this morning, and there were some things that are escaping me right now, but that's the bulk of what's going on. Had a really good day out at the jail with Joe. With Joe on Friday. discussed a lot of the IT infrastructure, the rooms, where stuff was going, how things were going to be laid out. Had a really good discussion with Caleb about how things are going out there. It's going really well. The two-story administration, the concrete floors are poured. So Joe and I were able to get up on those floors and walk around. That's really coming together. Again, you don't realize the size until you get up on that slab and start walking around. The update on the kennel situation, we have struggled with the kennels since the beginning. I need to have a conversation with Joe Crete about this today, if he's around. We've tried to pin down who's in charge of kennels, and for the most part, it's been Char, and it's been hit and miss getting them to the meetings, and we've had issues in the design of the kennels themselves. Whether they be something solid, chain link, how the doors are going to work, what is expected of these dogs. These dogs are trained, and they're kind of angry dogs. They're dogs with attitudes. So there's some considerations to take there, and we're trying to be, as inexpensive as we can be. So as we've gone through this, we thought we were settled, and somebody said, we need to go over to Spokane, the city of Spokane. They've got what they consider the gold standard for kennels and how they do their dogs. Person that went over there is somebody I've never even heard of before. And I need to get to the bottom of that, because he came back and said, we're doing this. And it's offices for the officers, which was never planned on. A completely different kennel setup, a lot more expense. And Lydig get pushed back with whoever the deputy was here and said, that wasn't planned on. And he goes, look, that's the gold standard. And Joe said, that's what we're doing. And Lydig's comment back was, we work for Tom, so we'll discuss it with Tom, and we'll take it from there. So that was last week, and I need to follow up on that, find out what's going on there today. So that's about all I have on it. I don't have a lot of
Yeah,
details.
Tom, I just want to reiterate that we put you in charge of the jail, so these changes would not happen. So I just want to put my support behind you, and you kind of had the final say in that, and we don't need a bunch of change orders right now.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think there's a reminder that when we went through the pricing, there was a question as to whether or not we would even do a canine area. That was kind of on the chopping block, and to me, it's a bonus to have that included. It wasn't required. Originally, it was just the jail. It mushroomed into what it is, which, is okay. But yeah, you can't just come back and do that. So
yeah, I believe that was a $500,000 little add-on that it was a pricey little add-on. So I really don't want to be spending anymore.
And I believe we're still below that. So I think we're considerably below that, but I'll double check. But I appreciate the support. Just wanted to make you guys aware of it, and I'll talk to Joe. In the spirit of the team charter, it should be a cordial, easy conversation where we can get to a good understanding. So anyway, there's Daryl. See if he's going to pop in here and if he has any questions.
Okay, Tom, so I read that agreement, and it can all be waived by city council. Okay. Or a lot of it is also saying that it's not required at this time, that there is a delay waiver, but at the time of construction that you do agree to build out the street, water, sewer, storm, sidewalks, and lighting, basically in your touching piece. So it's a latecomer, which would be normal. So I don't know what you were seeing that you would do the whole road.
It was in my conversation with Vivian. She said that it was the development of the road. So I'll verify it. I'll double check.
In here, every time it mentions like building out the water to all the road, it's at the city's discrepancy basically. So if you're 50 foot touching their road means you need to build out the road, then obviously no one will ever buy that.
Right.
Well, the other thing we could do is make the offer to take into consideration these things that they're wanting us to do.
Yeah, because private person's gonna,
Yeah, nobody else is gonna wanna do that. That's why it's still sitting there for sale. Or maybe that's why they took it off the market, I don't know.
So,
they signed the agreement.
the applicant is responsible for constructing all the streets within the subdivision full width and all the streets adjacent to the subdivision half width, except the applicant shall be responsible for constructing the adjacent streets full width if the city determines that the use of the subdivision requires full width streets. And I'm looking at, that's what caught my eye under number 4.
Yeah, and it mentions, let me find where it's at. Basically, all of that is delayed in this agreement.
Yeah, it does, yeah. So, well, let me ask Vivian to dig into that and see exactly what we would, if we were to apply for that building permit there, what the expectation would be, and if any of it could be waived. So I think there's already sewer, there used to be a car wash there.
Yeah, there's city sewer and city water.
So that all has to already be there.
And I would think with access off of Kittleson Road, for what we're gonna be building there,
Yeah,
you wouldn't need that access on the back.
yeah, I wouldn't
So
think
I
so.
wouldn't think that it would require these to be done.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Any questions from you, Cindy?
No, thank you, Tom, for all that you do. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Robert, Kevin, and I'll get back to you after I talk to the city.
Okay. Thanks, Tom.
Yep.
We're going to recess until 9 a.m.
Good morning.
Good morning, it's 9 a.m. and we're here for Development Services update. We have the Fire Marshal and the Development Services Director with us today.
Thank you, Commissioners, and good morning. Yeah, we've got an update for Development Services on 3/17 of 2025, and just a continuation of last week's update. And this update will be, kind of heavy on renewables. So this week, I am having a discussion with Benton County tomorrow specifically with the FSEC. Amy is her name, so number 2 in the FSEC process, and it's just it's a siting process discussion, more of just out of curiosity on how FSEC goes about their process. Really, it's just more of gaining an understanding of what it looks like for them, start to finish in comparison to what the Grant County process is. And right now, of course, Benton County, they don't have, they have an ordinance, but they don't allow for solar and wind in the county. So FSEC is, of course, citing renewables in the county for them. Coming up on April 15th, I've been selected to speak at the ACP conference, which is the American Clean Power Conference in Seattle. And the topic is of course siting in the counties, and siting is political. So I'm looking forward to that speaking engagement. I've got a kind of a trial run this week between myself and a commissioner down in Lake County, Oregon. Commissioner, his name is James, his last name escapes me, but looking forward to that event. This Friday, we are hosting the newly appointed FSEC Chair, Kurt Beckett, at 10:30. So I would welcome, if any of the commissioners are available to assist me in that meeting, you're welcome to attend. It'll be over at the Offices of Development Services. And it's kind of building off of tomorrow's siting meeting with Amy at FSEC. And it's really just that. It's just an open discussion about, where FSEC is headed under his new leadership. Kurt is a very open leader, and I'm just looking forward to having that discussion with him and seeing what his vision for FSEC is, trying to figure out, you know, how he sees their process in, you know, protecting lands, agricultural lands, and working with Department of Fish and Wildlife and protecting, you know, critical habitats, and what that looks like for the FSEC organization, and similar to, you know, what we're trying to do here at Grant County. So would welcome anybody to join me in that discussion as well. So that's this Friday at 10:30. And then would like to talk with the three of you, if you've given any thought to entering into a moratorium while we develop ordinances for wind, which we currently don't have. So attached to this agenda is an actual lease agreement that I was able to find last week for a developer that has secured land with a local LLC for the development of wind on a parcel here in Grant County.
Yeah, I think we should move forward on it.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Better be prepared than not.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Well, I think there'll be more of these coming if they get started.
Yeah. So this parcel, there's a transmission line that bisects this parcel. It's
Right through the middle of it.
yeah, right through the middle of it. Yeah, as you can see. So, so not that we're looking for anything extra to do this year, because we have a lot on our plate, but I think that it's probably a good idea that we do that on the sooner side.
Yeah, looks like Cedar Crops own the property right next to it, so.
Right.
I would imagine they'll be next.
Right. Right. Yeah, so there's, like I said last week, there's 4 other counties that have ordinances in place for wind that I can begin to dig into and, you know, start pulling some ideas and thoughts from. And, you know, again, in the discussions that we're going to be having this week with the members of FSEC and other counties will be helpful in helping to begin crafting what that would begin to look like. So I'll pull the planning commission together and get that process started. So
We have to have a hearing, so you'll have to schedule a hearing. Do you need to meet with planning?
Yeah.
Commissioners first?
yeah, we'll have to have probably multiple hearings with the planning commission and of course the public as well. So
Okay, so you meet with the planning commission and set up a hearing to
Yeah.
start the
Yeah.
moratorium?
yeah, we have to have a hearing within 60 days of establishing the moratorium.
Oh, so we could do a moratorium? Well,
Yeah.
I thought we had to have a moratorium to go into,
Yeah.
a hearing to go into the moratorium, but we don't.
No, we can establish the moratorium, and then we have to have a public hearing within 60 days of declaring the moratorium,
Okay.
so that we can establish the findings of fact. So I'll work with Rebecca and Barbara on that.
Okay.
And then, you know, the goal would be, you know, it's of course March. So the goal would be to have it done by the end of the year. That might be a little aggressive, but, and we would have 12 months from the time that we established the moratorium. So this time next year would be, I mean, the goal would be to have it done by the end of the docket cycle, which, you know, obviously December 31st, but that'd be pretty aggressive to do. So, but we would have 12 months from the time that we established the moratorium to have
And if
it
it's not
complete.
done, we can ask for an extension.
We can,
another
yeah, we
hearing.
can have 6 month,
Okay.
yeah, up to 6 month extensions.
Well, I think we should move forward on it.
Okay.
Kevin, Ron?
Yep. I agree.
That's what we had for an update. Did you guys have any questions for Nathan or I?
if I shot any emails this last week. I'm like, no, I think we're good.
Did you hear anything more from that guy? Let's say,
Nope, not yet.
okay,
And that's on the agenda this week at the fire chiefs and commissioners meeting.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Enjoy your week.
Thank you.
Wonder will not be here instead of 10 o'clock. It's just if anybody to send, so. Barbara, the 10 o'clock needs to be canceled.
She had messaged me. I told her just to send someone. She said she wasn't gonna send anyone. Oh. All right, well, that doesn't meet the standard. We will go into recess at 9:15 for Commissioner's Office update. Good morning, it is 9:15 a.m. and we are here for our Commissioner Office update.
Hello. I have a lot of stuff, so I'm just gonna jump right in. I gave you guys a pending decision spreadsheet. I don't think it got talked about last week, so did you guys want to keep having it at one of your commissioner work sessions, or do you want to put it back in the commissioner's office update?
Let's do it in the work session. There's no updates last week.
There's no public hearings this week. You have one next Tuesday, the 25th at 3 p.m. That's the request to establish the ordinance for walkway maintenance. Do you have any questions about any of the meetings this week?
No.
The Friday one, I thought that was 11 o'clock for some reason, but.
The bond meetings?
Yeah. I have it down as 11, but it's.
1 to 2:30, I believe. Yes. And there is a Zoom set up for that, but it is a different link. So just so you guys know. And that link is on that last page, but if you try to log in via Zoom. Car 619, so that's our office's escape, is needing to be replaced. Public Works would like you guys to choose either right now or at their update what kind of vehicle you want instead. They have a Mazda CX-5, a Toyota RAV4, or a Nissan, but I don't know what kind of Nissan.
Do any mileage on all those?
No, this is all the information that I was
Oh, are
given.
they new ones or?
Couldn't tell you. That's all the information I was given was what kind of car. I think they're just wanting to know what kind of car so that way they can shop
Typically
Oh, to shop.
the Ford.
to look. I don't know.
Toyota. That's what my vote would be.
Yeah, I agree. I used to work on Toyotas and they're good little cars.
Yeah, I'm.
Okay.
If you don't have money, you buy a Toyota or a Honda.
I have a Toyota
That's it.
RAV4.
Nothing else.
I love my Toyota RAV4.
No, they're good cars.
Okay. I can let them know. For next thing, BOCC challenge coins, we have like 1 or 2 left. Do you guys want us to order more?
That out of tourism budget because we don't have money for it.
I could probably pull it out of LTAC.
They're nice to have and we
It's one of the only
Otherwise-
things we give to people.
personally pay for it. I mean, yes.
Count me in.
Okay.
You only have 2 left, huh?
At least what I have. I can root around in
I
the
think I have like
cabinets
6.
a little bit more. Okay.
I forget them though, and I take them to places.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
So
All good.
I was gonna ask you about, were you done?
Oh, I'll get quotes for you guys for like how much. 100.
Thursday evening,
Yes.
the EDC meeting, or
Yes, the Community Connect.
I was gonna go to that as well. Are all 3 of us going?
I have Rob and Cindy down as going. They asked us to put it on the calendar. I can put you on the calendar also.
Please.
Beckwith Consulting Meetings, that's the people that are doing the tourism promotion strategy. They are gonna have meetings, I put 26th through 28th. It's just the 26th and the 27th, though. They're wanting to meet with a lot of people. So it's like trails and hiking, agencies, chambers of commerce, art and culture is on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, they want competitive athletic fields, RV parks, and the stakeholders, which would be like tourism and LTAC and the fairgrounds. And he's wanting to meet with those people last so he can talk with them about what he learned at all these other ones. Cindy, for competitive athletic fields, we were wanting to reach out to somebody from the city of Quincy just to see what athletic fields they have over there. Do you know who would be
They're gonna have
best to
some
reach
really
out
nice,
to?
it would be, Pat, the city administrator.
Okay.
He's been championing the new Parks District.
Super. Thank you.
Or reach out, Brittany probably would know, I'm like, oh, that would be a quick connection.
No,
But yeah,
that's
he would
easy.
know.
I know who to call.
Okay. I gave you guys a printed out version of that new out-of-state travel request form. I added that section that you had wanted with additional expenses. It's not gonna change that total, the auto sum of like the total estimated cost at the top. I didn't put that in the formulas just because that feels like a very easy misunderstanding that we'd be going towards, but
This
there is
is
a
the
box
new
there.
out-of-state request.
Yes, it's not posted anywhere yet. I was just waiting for your guys's,
What do you have to have, 45 days for out-of-state request?
I believe so.
You might add that on there somewhere.
It's on the, it'll be like on the landing
Okay.
page. I can put it on there if you'd like, but
No, I was just looking at the deadline due Thursday, 12 p.m. I don't want someone being like, it says Thursday at 12 p.m. and it's Thursday at 11 p.m. I don't understand. And it's like the week before.
the landing page for it will have like the links for the, like where to find the GSA rates for like, in country, out of country, whatever.
How do
And that'll
GSA
say,
rates work? Because GSA rates are like what you expect your employee or yourself to pay when you go to a hotel.
it's like the average cost of
So
like,
the
typically,
hotels in that area.
if it's 125 and the room is 170, then the person was supposed to pay the $50 difference, but we haven't.
I have twice. That's why I ask. But then I keep seeing these things that's like GSA 130, room 315, and I'm like, I doubt the
Well, I
employee's
think
paying it.
no, I think sometimes our conferences are even
Sometimes
higher than
they're
the
more.
GSA, but they're with a conference, so they're approved. So I think I honestly don't know because we don't follow it. We probably have a policy on it.
I
but
would
we-
say
If it's reasonable, I don't see.
No, I agree. I just, I always think back to my first 2 times I traveled, and the GSA was like 89, and my room was like 290, and I had to pay the difference for a conference. And I'm like, I don't quite
Well, and
understand, I
government
guess.
rate. I'm really surprised that our employees don't see government rate.
They do,
I think most employees do.
but doesn't mean the rate's
Just
GSA.
chilling, not really.
But
I think we usually mostly use it to set the amounts for like meal reimbursements.
Yeah, I've just been curious, like even when we went to DC, we stayed somewhere that I didn't necessarily want to stay in the rate. But then it's like every time I get a travel form on consent, it's like way more than GSA. So I don't know. Following the rules that we don't implement, I guess sometimes it gets a little weird, but just curious. That's all.
Do you feel comfortable with this out-of-state form?
yes.
You good with me
Yeah.
posting it? Okay. And then I'll send out an email to the department heads, elected officials, and their number twos, just to let them know about the change, since they're the ones that normally fill out that form. And then after that, accounting and HR will take theirs off of the intranet.
A lot of times Uber is cheaper than a car rental. So I feel that more and more people are doing Uber than a rental. We might want to put like rental or Uber cost.
Okay, are you able to get quotes on Uber? I don't use Uber.
Maybe it's just how many miles you're going. Sometimes it's pretty close. Somebody was gonna rent a car. they were going to be, and it was only like, literally like a 5 minute from where they were staying to the convention or the conference. We're like, maybe it'd be a better.
Would you
We
like
can
me
leave
to
it.
add
I
that?
personally would just pay for a rental car myself, but that's just me.
It's tough because
I don't really know there's a good way to get an accurate quote on Uber because it changes
No.
like by the hour.
But it's
No,
like
you can do
a
that.
rental car for like when I was gone. That's what I always think. I'm like, okay, the rental car is gonna be, it was like $440 or something. But then Uber I paid like $99. So I
Yeah,
don't
it depends
know.
on what you're, if you're gonna be at a conference and you're gonna be at the conference all day long, you're not gonna need a car. I mean, that's
It's
my.
just when they have you, because when you do them, they'll always have you like an off-site here, an off-site
But they usually
there.
shuttle you. They always provide shuttling.
Yeah, we didn't have any shuttles.
When you went to DC,
We walked, one night we walked to an event like 4 miles.
yeah,
Seriously, Tom was like, I'm not gonna walk back tonight. I was like, all right, you don't have to.
you just leave it. Yeah, it was an idea, but.
It'll keep you healthy. We're just trying to help you.
I know, gained 4 pounds since.
Caitlin, it looks great.
Thank you. Okay.
Can there be maybe well, no, because you're just doing a request. On the reimbursement form, it would be nice to have like, rideshare as another option, but that's not this one.
Oh, and that one is controlled by accounting.
Yep.
Just a couple quick reminders. Rodeo picture on the 24th. You guys, Barb's gonna take that during lunch. She said to dress westerny. I'm just gonna pass that along.
Pass.
Okay. And then the bond meetings on Tuesday and Friday this week. Don't forget. I wanted to remind you guys to talk to Michelle at her update today about the 2026 budget meeting schedule. There, I guess, was conversations about Tyler Tech maybe being that week and HR's role in the budget updates. Barb had wanted me to remind you guys to talk with Michelle about that. And then I think the last thing that I had was the weekly calendar format to bring up. I think Daryl had voiced some concerns about not being able to see all of the meetings. So there is a different way that we can print out the calendars. Obviously, you guys can see what it looks like now. I just have one. So there's 2 different ways you could do it. You could have it with that mini calendar at the top, like how it is now, or you can do it just flat out. Is that something that you guys would like to see changed? Right now, you can't see all of the meetings. It just says show more.
Right.
So what, Daryl's like coming to that and not being able to see the whole day or what?
I think.
Well, he popped in. Well, I've even
I
been,
think that's what he's talking about.
yeah, no,
Open
when you're
up
looking
this
at
one.
it, but I have also been stranded here as I'm sitting here going, okay, shoot, what, Robin, you were gone. You were kind of thumbing through.
Well, you can go on the website. It's
Yeah.
all on there, right?
Yes.
I mean, the only thing that would be you print the day, Monday, Tuesdays.
Want the
Hang
entire-
on.
Kevin, can I say that, what the layout would be? Please.
I did 2 separate ones, so there's the one like what you printed, and then this one has the mini calendars at the top. While you look at that, before I forget, Rob and Kevin, you guys had asked for me to put on the agenda for the New Hope Kids Hope update, the travel reimbursement and allowance claims. I just wanted to remind you guys that that was on there because you wanted to talk to Susie about just a little more information for her claims before she sends them over for signing.
Well, not even for that. It was like after that. Like she'll do a lot. She did in the last batch of her travel prepayments, I think.
Yeah,
There were like tons of different places, but then in the updates, you don't hear about any of them. So I told her during that homeless task force that also, but I'll bring it up again.
Some of them were just, you know, sent in early, which, that's fine.
All right. And then for the calendar, what do you guys think?
Well, I like to see the whole week, but it's probably just, I can just print my own, so. Yeah. If I can get my printer to work, I'll print my own.
Your printer should be hooked up. I have to, yes, do that. You mean having this?
Having it look like
the
this,
same way?
like
Have it
this
look like
format
this,
instead
so
of
it has
that.
Everything on it instead of, it's just because we have more meetings now. This used to hold all of them, but now it no longer does. So it's, but I can print my own, so.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think we're gonna have, like, we have a long list of meetings on Monday. If this was out on the board, along with another one, all the meetings on it. You know, just for the day. And then just take it down. Does that make sense?
Or just do the weekend
Yes.
one for.
Or just put on their look on the, look online.
Daryl's always gone, come to our office.
Look online.
Or-
Rob?
Good either way, it doesn't really impact me.
Okay. All right. That is all that I had. So now I'm going to hand it over to Emily. And I'm going to run away.
Okay, wait, it's, we skipped the clerk's out of office dates.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yep. So Barb is out this whole week. And then we both have quite a bit of time where we're going to be out of office in April. So I just wanted to remind you guys, I'll be gone the week of the 14th for Laserfish. And then the week of the 28th, I will be out. I'll just be in Moses Lake for a budget training. It's a budget boot camp that MRSC puts on. And then Barb will be gone I believe it's the 23rd through the 25th of April. So there will be at least one clerk in the office the entire week, all those weeks. But the other one will be out.
Okay, thank you, Shayla.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Now I'm
Thank you for
leaving.
researching the calendar, I really appreciate it.
Welcome. Okay. Bye-bye.
Good morning.
Hello. I'm here if you guys have any public records questions.
How are the public records requests coming in? I mean, we usually have an update, like,
I mean, about same as always, it ebbs and flows. It's been pretty busy. We have a lot of really big requests that are requiring monthly installations, so. Yeah. Anything specific?
how's the division between you and Mike going? You'll take some, he'll take some.
Yeah, we just kind of process them. We get the requests in, we assign them to the departments we need records from. They send us the records, and we kind of just then go through and pick whatever is ready. It's not always in order just because of how the departments get back to us, but if we get 6 where everything's been uploaded, we just kind of go through them and grab the ones that are ready and get them done.
How are the videos? Are they still?
The update to our software from the prosecutor's office is proving to be really useful. It's not perfect, but it is better than it was, which is really nice. The redactions of faces, screens, and audio are a little bit easier. It does take some adjusting. They haven't done the full switch over yet. It's still kind of in like beta testing mode, but it's going to be really helpful once we're
Improving, that's the main.
It is improving, which
Okay.
is super helpful for us.
Any questions? Unless there's something overwhelming in our office, but.
What about you, Rob? You have any questions for me?
Nope, I always come ask.
You do. I'm easy to find.
Oh, that's nice that you're right around the corner.
Yep.
You're hidden in a little cave back there, so. if you
I
want to be
do.
seen, you can be seen.
I
No,
like
you're
my
right.
little cave, yeah.
I don't have any questions. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you. We'll recess until 9:45. Good morning, it's 9:45 a.m. and we are here for an accounting update with Mandy.
Don't have much of a financial update. The February reports should have gone out. If you haven't yet received them, then you probably get them today. We'll go over them in detail at the finance committee meeting at the end of the month. Last week I ended up doing mostly payroll Tyler, the HRM side of it, and working on payroll position control, which was something Kirk had been working on, and we can't find what he had done, and so now I'm having to recreate it. So that's fun stuff. Big change, our payroll person that we just hired resigned. So we're gonna
The one who's working under Felicity?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, she'd been out sick all week and then came in Friday morning and just resigned. So to Band-Aid the situation, we're gonna have Jamie be split between what she's doing with AP and payroll to help with the payroll overload until we can get a more permanent solution there. And then we have Tyler coming on site tomorrow for the financial side, to hopefully work on grants, setting up that module, cleaning up the GL a little bit more. Hopefully we'll be done with that this week. And maybe the contracts for him while he's on site. I think that's about it.
Have you talked to HR about advertising? Did you have,
This just happened Friday, so
the backup person, was there only one person that applied or were there a couple?
there were several. So I don't know if we have the option to offer
Sometimes if
to.
it's close, you can't. You can go for like whomever you pick, or just go ahead and go out and advertise again.
I don't know. Michelle was out on vacations last week, so we haven't even had a chance to discuss it. And she'll have her update with you guys later today. I don't know what time she's scheduled for.
11 o'clock.
Oh, cool. So to my knowledge, she should be here for that. So fun stuff.
We got the other accounting information that was emailed over.
Did you get the commissioner reports? Okay, cool. Daryl and I have a meeting today with the state auditor's office for a survey. It's at 10 o'clock. They're surveying for special districts and controls related to what the treasurer does. It's nothing specific to us. They're surveying all the counties. And so it's just something to do with special purpose districts and some kind of controls that we have over them. So that's at 10 o'clock. And then we have, even though I have Tyler this week, I will be joining the meetings with Jim Nelson for the bonding. Is that tomorrow?
One of them's tomorrow, one of them's Friday.
Okay, yeah, I am still planning to attend the one tomorrow and Friday. And there's a projection report that was due that Daryl and I kind of couldn't come to terms on. So hopefully they'll be okay with us submitting that today or tomorrow. You know how picky he can be on giving projections for the next 10 years.
Anything else for Mandy?
Just checking. I know we had a few things, but I don't remember them.
Well, things are still outstanding as small and attractive assets policy update. Mutual of Omaha payments waiting on prosecuting attorney's office. I think Rebecca's been part of the delay in that as well to get her review. She sent out an email saying that she's behind on reviewing things and really just prioritizing high action items. And we have time to get that settled. So I didn't feel that it was a need to push her for that unless you feel I should push her for that information. And then still outstanding is determining the allocations for the premium for the Washington risk pool. program, the county's risk pool insurance program. Huh?
WCRG.
WCRIGB, formerly WCRIP, formerly
WCRIP, WCRG.
WCIP with Clear Risk Solutions, formerly
Brown.
Canada. Doesn't Brown and Brown own Clear Risk?
What was?
And Kate was former is
Still might be like
Canfield.
Umbrella, Brown, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a little convoluted.
When Canfield sold it, they changed several times since Canfield. But so I think that's it for past items that have not yet been satisfied.
Yeah, I didn't have anything to bring in my notes, so I don't have any other questions.
Sweet. Yeah, and if you guys want to schedule some time with the Tyler guy while he's here, we could do that. If you have any questions specific to the financial module, he'll be here. We're 8:30 to 4:30 tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Yeah,
Probably just-
unfortunately, we'll be in here all day tomorrow.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe at one of the other 2 days, if you just want to pop in for 5 minutes or something, up to you guys. Just to let you know that's an option for you if you would like.
Thank you, Mandy.
And otherwise,
Thanks for sending the reports.
oh yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, have fun.
We're going to recess until 10 a.m. Good morning, it's 10 a.m. and we are here for a juvenile court youth services update with Scott from Youth Services.
Hello, good morning.
Howdy.
My name is Scott Olson. I am the Juvenile Services Manager at Grant County Juvenile Court. I'm here today because Swahil Palacios is out. She asked me to please come down and provide a little bit of an update. We currently have 9 youth in custody at Chelan County. It was a busy weekend. We had 5 juvenile intakes from the weekend. And we just had 2 more juvenile intakes this morning. So a very busy weekend.
Like what time this morning, like?
About
middle of the night, morning?
10 minutes ago,
Oh, okay.
just
They
before
waited
I-
till work hours.
trying to run in, get down here. So just this morning, about 10 or 15 minutes ago, we had 2 additional juveniles brought in. So a very busy weekend overall. I'm currently awaiting to hear from the prosecutor as to charging decisions, which will then help me schedule court and transport with Chelan County as needed for release as court. We do have a couple youth that have been with us for a little bit of time that will be resolving their cases. So I'm hopeful overall after, in a couple hours, those numbers will reduce quite a bit for our overall numbers. So, and that's all I really had to present.
Well, thank you for joining us. Yeah, Swahil said you didn't, or, she wasn't. So thank you.
Okay.
Great.
How's everything going up there?
It's been going really well, really busy. For me, today is a really busy day because primarily I focus on coordinating and getting everything ready for court with Chelan County, the transports and releases and getting that information to our staff. So that at times is a little bit hectic. And we have a youth that was scheduled to be released tomorrow, but he unfortunately is brought contraband into the facility as a prisoner, so he's being charged by Chelan County. He'll be done with our stuff tomorrow, and then be held by Chelan County.
So then it'll be their responsibility.
Yes, it'll be their responsibility, but it's just, oops, now we have to change some things as far as letting parents know they're not going to need to pick them up and,
So we will not be paying for that use?
No.
Chelan County will?
yep.
Okay.
How did he take contraband in since being in?
That's what they're investigating. I don't,
Interesting.
I know that,
I mean, I know how you get it in, but I just wondered when he went out to bring it in.
yeah, we've had, unfortunately, I think we've had an instance with another female who was brought in and then had contraband but that was hidden internally. But they had the drug dog come in and do the what they found, but it didn't hit on anything. That female, she identifies as male, was released last week, and then we found it was Brett Byers from the prosecutor's office got done with the meeting. He goes out to the public restroom and says, "There's some contraband in the bathroom." She had dumped it, so we had to have Ephrata PD come up to our facility and confiscate that items. So it was a long process of finding out this was the same materials that the drug dog did not hit on. None of it was illegal. They didn't identify as drugs, but it did look like drugs. So a lot of weird scenarios we've been having to handle and deal with and communicate. So unfortunately, those things do happen. Law enforcement says that they typically, yes, they've searched the youth, but I find it where I'm always asking law enforcement, having my staff make sure that they've actually searched backpacks. That seems to be where we have problems. Just been a very busy weekend. So,
You said you had 5 new this weekend?
yeah. Yeah, I think we had one Friday night, one early Saturday morning, and one late Saturday evening, and then 2 yesterday on Sunday. So typically we see a lot of assault for domestic violence charges, or we did have a couple harassment, threat to kill, felony related charges. And the 2 that came in this morning are on possession of stolen vehicles.
No.
So felonies. So, and kind of, we've seen those names.
So what, family vehicles or just random?
I'm taking a guess on the ones this morning that one of the 2 individuals, yes, it was probably a family's vehicle. We've seen him. That's probably the 4th.
I don't suppose they're the
Instance.
ones that went through the fairgrounds fence.
No, not these 2. But one of the young men was, I think he's got a pending case in Chelan for the same type of taking a motor vehicle. And I think this will be his 3rd case if it's charged with us.
Wow.
Stealing a vehicle on the other side, driving over here, and then getting caught over here with a stolen vehicle. So I haven't read that report, but I'm leaning that direction. So
Yeah, one of my youth jail tours, there were a few for stealing family cars.
yeah, I might have been one of the same individuals. So, and I know that we have a young man who's been with us for 549 days.
Current, yeah.
Current, that in talking to Brett Byerly at the prosecutor's office, it's hopeful that that case will be wrapping up shortly. So that will be nice to get that moved on. So that's all I have, unless you have some questions.
Now it sounds like you probably need to get back to work, huh?
A little bit.
Okay,
I would-
well, thanks for joining us. We will not
Thank
keep you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
All
you
right.
for the update.
All right, have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah, make it a great day.
You want this open or closed?
Close, please. Keep it
Okay, we
open.
will go into recess until our next meeting at 10:30. Good morning, it's 10:30 a.m. and we are now going to have a renew update. We have Dell Anderson online with us.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Ardell?
How are you?
Great.
Good. I had one update on diversion programming, and then I just had a quick update for you as well from the opioid abatement meeting we had with City of Moses Lake and Carillon. So first I'll discuss the diversion meetings, and Kevin, for your background as well and just the historical information. The diversion meeting is a panel of commissioners from Chelan, Douglas, Grant, and Okanagan counties, as well as treatment providers and law enforcement. And the purpose of this council or meeting is we're trying to develop a regional diversion facility. So the individuals that are picked up in each community across our 4 counties on whether it's a mental health crisis, a substance use crisis, where there could be a pending charge and they need to be picked up or arrested, they could be diverted to this facility where they would get their court hearings, they get all of their treatment services, and then as they're stabilized, they would then return back to their community. And after completing a certain amount of treatment or being successful in treatment, then charges could potentially be dropped. So this was a way to start a jail diversion program across our four county region so that people could get help instead of going to jail or kind of starting that cycle of once they've been in jail, coming out, trying to get jobs is very difficult. So they go back into this cycle of mental health issues, substance use related issues, and get picked up again and back in jail. So it's really trying to divert that process so they can get the help they need when it's needed. So this, gosh, Cindy, this has been meeting probably what, 3 years? Two and a half, maybe 3 years now.
3, 4, 4. It's been a while. It's been
Yeah.
a long time.
This originally started as an idea drawn on paper by Commissioner Overbay.
A
And
napkin. Was there a napkin?
napkin, yes. Yep. And it had these little like triage sites in every county going to this diversion facility. And this meeting is held once a month. Cindy also attends this meeting. And the next step is doing what's called a SIM, and I'm forgetting what the acronym stands for in this moment. But the SIM takes intercepts of mental health system, substance use related system, how we connect with the hospital systems in crisis, how we connect with law enforcement when there's a crisis, and then how it comes through the judicial system whenever there's a crisis situation and you have pending charges and what that looks like. It also gets interesting because if someone's picked up in Grant County, but then their court hearing would be in Chelan or Douglas counties, then we do lose that authority and jurisdiction. My understanding from Kevin McCrae is we already hold courts across county lines, and there's processes for that virtually and things like that. But the next step in this process is to hold a 4-county SIM for intercepts 3, 4, and 5, which is the law enforcement and judicial intercepts. And so what we're asking is that we have representatives from Grant County from the judicial system to attend a meeting in May, which is held over in Wenatchee. I will take the lead on corresponding with Kevin McCrae, as well as other attorneys we need from our judicial system, as well as law enforcement and our sheriff's office, to make sure that we have appropriate representation at the next meeting in May. That will be, I believe it's May 13th is what they're trying to schedule. I just wanted you aware as commissioners of what's happening in the area around this diversion program. There has not been a location selected, and funding hasn't been, we haven't been received any funding to support a facility. Right now, we're in these ground level stages of developing what this program will look like. And behind the scenes, there's just discussions about potential facilities, where it could best be utilized, and what funds would help operate such a facility. So I'll keep you abreast of the situation as it unfolds, but just wanted you aware I'll be working with each of our different departments to make sure we have some level of representation from law enforcement and our judicial programs as well at that next meeting in May. Cindy, I don't know if you had anything else you would like to add about diversion.
Dale, you pretty much summed it up. No, I think funding like the opioid monies that we are getting, we could be using that for this diversion program. And just Kevin's done a lot of work. A lot of it kind of like more in the weeds and things that I don't always understand, because they're talking, we're the jail side or your side of things. But I know my portion would be the funding side. So
Yep.
I do appreciate you jumping in and really being an active partner in that, because I think you have more numbers. I don't have numbers, and you could.
Yeah, no, this has been a great opportunity to take lead on these different programs being developed here in our area. It's such a need for, especially those looking to reduce recidivism and really help individuals recover from substances or their mental health related issues as well. The other update I just want to make you aware of, I just sent an email off and to Kevin McCrae. I copied the three of you as well. We held a meeting with Carolyn on so I thought it was Thursday or Friday, and this meeting was to prepare the RFP that will go out for the opioid abatement funds. And we decided to combine funds and do one RFP with the city of Moses Lake. So this meeting was between Carolyn and us and City of Moses Lake, and their representative was Councilwoman Martinez. So we worked through the RFP, and we have a draft of that RFP that Carolyn plans to release that this coming Wednesday. And so I just wanted to give Kevin McCrae another chance to review to see if he had any issues from a legal perspective. I was able to work in, Kevin had asked last time that there was a 6-week time frame for the RFP to go out and people to submit proposals for that RFP. On our end, when proposals are received, we will need to have a committee that reviews the proposals so we can select which funds will be allocated to which program. There already is understanding that the Grant County Jail is a priority for Grant County to receive funds for the withdrawal issues that the individuals are experiencing within the jail to help with some of the programming there in the jail. I did let City of Moses Lake also know that was a priority of ours as well. And so I just sent that across. Carolyn said they would be willing to delay the release if there are any legal issues or questions. So I just wanted Kevin to take one last look at that before that gets released. I didn't know if you had any questions about that. I just wanted to keep you in the loop on what's happening.
I have no other questions on that.
I don't have any questions. I appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah. I'm kind of quick today, guys. That's all I had on my agenda.
Okay, I am going to ask you, did you find some comparables? I know Decorah from HR is looking on your for a salary.
Yeah, I have comparables I can get over to Decorah. That'd be fine. Yeah, I appreciate that.
One for the health district. I just want to make sure we are fair.
Yeah, I know, I understand, and I appreciate those efforts.
Somebody's going to steal you.
No, thank you. I really do appreciate that.
Thank you, Dale. That's all I have.
Just as a heads up on, I'll talk more about this in my next update, but I've got some travel with my last Baldridge Institute program at the end of this month. And then a trip to Orlando the following week, I'll submit an annual leave request for that. But I just want to make you aware there'll be 2 Mondays I'll be missing, and I can have someone else present on topics that we have as well. So I can make sure there's still a representative from our team that would be available to present to you on those days.
How was your last training, I think in California?
The Ritz-Carlton, that was the one we did, the Ritz-Carlton. It was really, really good. It was really interesting because I think through this process, I've really learned a lot about what it means to hold staff accountable. And it's not just about discipline or writing people up when things are gone, but it's really about ensuring that you have processes that are clear enough that your staff understand what's expected of them. And when your policies and procedures are that clear, they know, then you can hold them accountable to these processes. And sometimes that does lead to corrective actions. And sometimes it's reminders of making sure that we're following what the processes are. I'm also seeing that through when we're pulling productivity reports and you see some that are lower than others, it's not always an issue with the employee. Sometimes, and the majority of the time, actually, it's an issue with the process. Our processes that are in place allowing the staff to be as successful as they can be. I've also learned how important it is as you have your strategy developed and you start cascading your goals throughout each department in the organization, that they have a way to tie in. and that the staff themselves understand the value that they have as employees in obtaining what your goals are as an organization. And so I think a lot of these site visits that we've done, it's been at these organizations that just perform with excellence in all ways within the organization. They are doing these things on a daily basis from the CEO level all the way down to the staff. And it's really been impressive to see how organizations function. So I'm just grateful I've been able to have these experiences and have this level of leadership training this last year. And so I head to Baltimore on the 28th of this month. I presented the national conference there on Saturday, the 29th, and then graduate from the fellowship the evening of the 29th. And then I'll stay for the Quest for Excellence conference, which will be Sunday through Wednesday, and the return Wednesday night from Baltimore on April 2nd. So it's already been a year. It's hard to believe this is over.
You've been moving, you've been doing a lot of stuff though.
Yeah, it's been outstanding. So it's been great. And I'm looking forward to implementing a lot of things that we've learned. You'll see that as a part of our strategic plan and what we're doing as we report out to you on April 22nd.
Okay, well, thank you for that update.
Mm-hmm. Thank you guys for your support. I really appreciate you. And
Thanks, Dale.
we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Dylan.
Alrighty. Thank you.
We will go into recess until 10:45. Good morning, it's 10:45 a.m. and we are here for an assessor's office update with Melissa McKnight.
So Thursday morning, we went through what we hope to be our last large data conversion, which was the Marshall and Swift information. There's a few things that still aren't syncing up. We're working on that. The flu has officially hit our office. We are short-staffed. It's like, oh my gosh, they dropped like flies on Friday. Apparently over the weekend, poor Matt was like, I won't be in today. So.
We all need to go buy some Lysol.
We've been Lysoling everything. I have spray Lysol. We have wipes. We've been wiping down the doorknobs and spraying everything, all the countertops. We've been wiping it down and just letting it. Yeah.
No, it's
bad.
bad.
It is bad. We're about maybe 50% if we're lucky right now. So that's fun.
And it lasts a while too. It's not just a day or two.
It's
just a good
week
at
week.
least.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
One of my persons who I sent home on Friday, which was, I literally was like, get out. Today, I'm like, are you okay? You're white as a sheet. I don't have a fever. Yeah, but if you need to go home, it's okay. So that's what we're working on. We also got our new copier, so we got rid of our dying color copier. It had seen its useful plus life. So we just got a credit on our mailing of our change of value notices that we've been working on. They finally completed that. We just got notification of that today. So going into this next year, we'll have actually a credit going in. What else? Aurelio brought up annexation that was not reported to my office. We think just as I was leaving the office, I was diving into that, and I've got Rachel calling the city of Warden on that. So we're gonna see if we need to get that straightened out. So
Fun stuff.
Well, you hold their hands on building permits and then we're supposed to read their minds on annexations and things like that, so.
We
Just
used to get a
upset.
letter. I don't even know if we get letters anymore that they're annexing. They're supposed to just notify us.
Well, I'm supposed to do sufficiency. They're supposed to send me a sufficiency petition and then I do a notice of sufficiency, yes or no. And on this particular one, I did it back in 2023, but had not heard back because sometimes they don't go through for whatever reason. But Aurelio got notified that it was, and it was like,
Wait,
I have
wait a minute.
nothing.
Yeah, I don't think I haven't seen a letter. Have you seen a letter about the annexation? I haven't seen any.
I haven't either.
Annexation letters, but they're
Yeah,
supposed to
we
be
had one, we
notified.
had, of course, there was the annexation of City of Mattawa into Fire District 8, which that was a voted on in 2024. And then there was one parcel in Ephrata down south or north, up north. And that was it. So I was like, I don't have anything else. So, yeah. Might have to
Because
do
the
a.
president of the Boundary Review Board, when they went away, they were supposed to notify the county
Mhm.
when there was an annexation. I thought, or maybe it was just a courtesy that they did.
No, I think they have to they have to notify my office
No,
because
well,
it
yours
affects
used to
levies
do.
and stuff, so. We're working on that. I'm still working on DOR reports. And we're just moving forward on our revow as fast and hard as we can. We're pretty excited about this Marshall and Swift because we were having to re-enter everything, so it should speed things up a bit once we get going. And then once they get this completely ironed out, then we can get our field modules, which will really speed things up. So we're waiting impatiently.
I think you start the hearings, is it the end of this month or next month?
I thought Matt said in May.
Okay, March,
I mean, we might have like a BOE,
Okay.
kickoff meeting with the
Okay.
board.
May.
We usually do that before, but, and I could be wrong.
No, you're probably right.
But we have
May,
like,
March.
we have less this year than we had last year.
That's good, because it didn't seem like it was starting out that way.
We had like 214 and some of those are gonna be going away too, so maybe like somebody was saying like 190. So out of 67,000 parcels, I'll take it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good.
So, yep, that's all I got.
Okay, well, thank you. Be healthy.
Covering phones and front counter at this point.
Okay, well, stay healthy. Don't get sick.
No, I had it a couple weeks ago.
Bigger than I can.
So I lost like 5 pounds in under 24 hours. It was bad, but
A new diet program. Not a way to go.
no, I'll stick to my other diet program.
Well, thank you, Missy.
Thank you.
And then, Daryl and I met with the Port of Moses Lake last week on the LTIFs, kind of explained some things with them. And then we're trying to figure out timing and current use removals for the base year, which we're just waiting on confirmation from Department of Revenue, and then we can move forward with that. And kind of explained how new construction works, and projections were very aggressive
On their part.
on their part. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Because I asked the question, who came up with those? That was never really answered. Because I would like to talk to that person to see what their basis was. Yeah, unless we're getting multiple manufacturer plants up at a time, we're probably not going to see over 500 million in 1 year. That's,
So did they understand after you guys left?
yeah, they weren't happy about it, but
before they did it.
Good idea.
I tried. I just asked for more than a 2-hour notice of a meeting. It's kind of hard to schedule that when you're,
No,
so,
yeah,
but that's where we're on that.
a week is better.
I would have taken 24 hours, but.
All right, well,
Thanks, you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you, Missy.
If you need anything,
We know where to
you
find
know
you.
where I am.
Thank you.
We'll go into recess until.
Well, if she's not here.
She's here. There's someone from the state with her,
Oh, okay.
but I couldn't get a hold of her either.
she's a little tied up then.
Yeah, I don't remember if it's someone from DRS or I don't remember what agency she said.
Okay, well, then we'll just recess.
Okay, cool.
You need to announce it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at what time our next meeting was.
Fill it in, Mandy.
I'm glad to help.
15.
We will go into recess until 11:15 a.m. Good morning, it's 11:15 a.m. and we're here for a fairgrounds update with Jim McKiernan. Your sound
How
on?
are, how are all of you?
All right, Jim.
Great, how are
Great.
you doing?
Good. I got through my 457 emails this morning after being gone last week, so I feel pretty good about that. Let's see, staffing. Zach Russell started last Thursday, and on our outside crew helping Ken and Lori, he's doing great. Is jumping right in and able to help us right out of the gate. We have him working a schedule over the weekend, Thursday through Monday. So we have 3 people on the weekends during our events. And then we have some coverage on Monday, which we haven't had for a while. I know Daniel presented PMRT the request for seasonal help through the PMRT. And so I believe he's working on getting some ads. We did reduce that number by at least 2. And as you know, it's transient. So we end up getting people that'll stay for a month and leave. And so it's never actually 4 to 6 full-time folks. It's usually 3, maybe 4 FTEs.
Jim, I believe we approved that also in PMRT and in the HR update, so.
Woo-hoo. Thank you.
Did you sign
We did.
HR, so you should be good to go.
Okay. We had another person run through the fence on Sunday morning at 2 a.m. Well, 1:30 a.m. Sheriff's office was on it pretty quick. I can show you the video one of these times when you're here, but this person actually was coming from the 76 station down Airway Drive and never turned at all. They went through 2 fences and hit the Brian Miller gate and opened it. So they actually took out 3 sections of fence. In fact, I was just watching the video of it, amazed that the person didn't hit a tree or kill themselves. But we do have a police report on that.
And you know who it is?
Oops, I just heard the.
Jim, do you know who it is? Were you able to get a license number?
They actually, the car never was able to leave. So yeah, they got the person and the car. I don't have the accident report yet, but I should have it fairly quickly. And then we'll submit that to Shane for insurance replacement costs. The nice thing is Tom Gaines called me this morning, and so he's going to try to incorporate those fence fixes into that fencing quote that he's getting for Southfield. I will. I don't know if you guys have heard. I've gotten several calls on this, but there's a bill that passed the Senate and is in the House right now that has to do with no weapons allowed on any government facility or park. And I've been asked. I did respond to a request for some comments to the local media, and basically my position is it's not going to fix what happened at Fair last year. It's a 15-year-old still bringing in a gun, was an illegal situation anyway. But I did talk about the fact that we, had discussions with Live Nation about how they do their security. Um, the thing about the bill, and Judy called me Warnick because she was concerned about it. It doesn't really do anything but penalize those that are legally carrying. And so she didn't seem, just in our discussion, she didn't seem to be too positive about the bill. I assume she voted against it, but where that party's in the minority. So I did say, it's not going to prevent those 15-year-olds. We have had discussions with Live Nation about metal detectors, perimeter drones, weapon sniffing dogs. All of that costs money, and it's just penalizing those that are legally carrying. So that's kind of my response to the local media. They may reach out to you to see what you think, but that um, I thought was a fair response from myself as the fairgrounds director, not trying to represent the county as a whole, but just saying, hey, that wouldn't have stopped what happened last year. So, when you have 187 acres, probably 4,000 to 5,000 linear feet of fencing, it's going to be really difficult to stop a person that really wants to get a weapon inside. So, I got those calls last week, and I actually didn't. I looked at my phone in the evenings and left it off during the day. And then the only other thing, we have Rosalind, our new accounting tech, starting on Monday to replace Darcy. She's coming from Clifton Larson Allen, where she's been for the last 3 to 5 years, I believe. She is very qualified, and we're very excited to have her join our staff. We sure are going to miss Darcy. That was a tough day to go on vacation with Darcy's last day that Friday. Darcy was a big part of, excuse me, the fairgrounds. As you know, she's a huge proponent of fair and the fairgrounds, and her family's heavily involved in the things here. So I have a feeling that we'll still see Darcy at fair time, and if there's ever an opening on the fair advisory committee, I would strongly push her to be on that so she can stay involved. But Jessica, her daughter, has also shown an interest in if we ever have an opening there. Rob, did you want to talk about what I think your call was about last week?
No, it wasn't about that, but I don't remember what it was about.
Oh, so I have heard through the grapevine that we have a concern from Top Gun Concessions. Last Friday, in our prior staff meeting, it was brought to my attention that we're cleaning tables and cleaning the cafe area of the Ardell. And I kind of said, well, hold on, why are we doing that? We're busy. We don't always have time to do that. And evidently it's been something that we've done for quite a few years. And so my question was, why are we doing that when we have a lessee leasing that facility? If a business owner went in to a leased building and they wouldn't expect the building owner as the lessor to clean tables each night after the restaurant closed. So I kind of felt like we shouldn't be in that business. I think it's probably some kind of a transition to that. I honestly need to spend some time with Jim because, as you know, he can get very upset when something changes. And so I will spend some time talking to him about that and hopefully come to some kind of an agreement. He did echo his concerns to the staff several times last week while I was gone. And that also goes around providing supplies and those kinds of things. Because I know we had at one time, we're also supplying his paper towels in his kitchen, trash can liners and all that stuff. And I guess that's not typically how a lease works. So but I'm going to work on that.
Jim, what's his contract say?
I was gonna say, what's his lease say?
Well, it just says he's the owner, he's the tenant, or he's the tenant of the facility, and I'm guessing that those little specifics like that aren't spelled out, but I wouldn't guess that in most leases, things like supplies are spelled out in the lease itself, and that could be the question, is the cafe really part of that lease? And I don't think it clearly delineates what is. And so maybe we just go the direction we're going, and the next time we rewrite the lease, we say, okay, the expectation is that the lessee takes care of that area.
Well, if they have access, does anybody else have access to the cafeteria area?
Not to the kitchen, but and that was his. I haven't talked to him yet, so that was part of his response to Chris was, well, then I want to put doors on the cafe area so that he can close it. And I kind of agree with that, because if he's going to be responsible for cleaning it, so then the question becomes, do we want that space, which is heated, available so that other attendees of events can use it when the cafe isn't open? You know,
A lot of people sit in there.
yeah, we're extremely flexible. You know, we don't require gym to be open or Top Gun to be open any specific hours. They don't have to open for every event. They kind of pick and choose which events work for them financially. We don't charge them anything for any caterings that they may do out of that kitchen. So I kind of think we're pretty flexible as it is. And so it's just a hiccup. We have those every once in a while. And we've had those since I got here 6 years ago. So we just have to work through it. And he is a good tenant. He does a great job. People enjoy his food, and he does a good job catering too. He does caterings for us each year. Any other questions? The weather in Phoenix was pretty crappy last week. We did get to see the Dodgers preseason game. Got to see Ohtani, which was pretty cool. But the Mariners preseason game on Thursday got rained out.
Did you have fun? That's the main thing.
We relaxed. We spent a lot of time just relaxing and eating. My wife refused to cook at all during that time. I refused to cook during that time. So we hit a lot of restaurants and go-kart racing. We went go-kart racing too. That was kind of fun. And Top Golf. Oh my gosh, that was a blast.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Did you go do the little miniature golfing? That is just as fun as Top Golf or even?
No, we didn't do that. There's something about taking out aggression on a ball at a Top Golf that was kind of fun. Although my wife did get a better score than I did at Top Golf, which kind of was irritating.
No.
So yeah.
That hurts.
Yeah, it hurt a lot. She reminded me several times afterwards that she won. So.
Yeah, I don't remember if I called you Jim.
You don't remember?
But no, I did get a call on that whole deal, but I got multiple calls on that, so.
Yeah, we'll work through it. It's just, anytime we make a change, in some cases, it's just not always easy. And so I think we just have a discussion with him and we'll calm him down. Anything else?
I think I called you because I was going past. I was just gonna stop and see you.
In Phoenix?
No. I was passing the fairgrounds. I forgot you were going.
Oh.
Then you didn't answer, so I just went to the storage unit.
Oh. Yeah. Other than that, things are going good.
All right.
Good.
All right. We'll see you at somebody at the Fair Advisory Committee meeting on Thursday. So just a reminder, I didn't know if Kevin, if you were going to try to be there. Or which one of you might want to be there?
I have a couple meetings.
You have GTA that night.
Yeah, I have a GTA meeting that night, actually.
Ours will be more fun and we provide food.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Well, Cindy or Rob, you're more than welcome too.
Okay, I haven't been for a while.
Yeah, come. Oh, we did get our headliner. I'm not going to mention names, but we got a confirmation last week while I was on vacation that the headliner is a go.
Good.
So, yeah, that was the last piece. Thank goodness.
Jim, when does parking start? When does it go on sale for the fairgrounds?
Parking is the May 27th, I believe, is the date. Right now we're doing grandfathered camping.
Yeah, I told him June 1, so I better let him know. May 27th?
Yeah, I think it's May 27th, Cindy. Let me just make sure. Actually, I think it's May 30th.
Okay, it starts on that Friday, right before.
Yep. Friday, and it's done by 8:05. So make sure whoever's going to sign up that they're online at a computer that works for transactions. All right. Hey, thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
See ya.
See ya. We will go in recess for 30 seconds. Good morning, it's 11:30 a.m. and we are going to start our risk and safety coordinator update.
Morning, everyone.
Hello.
So just to give you guys a heads up, have no new claims that were turned in since we last talked to the insurance company, so that's a good thing. I know Shane will be coming in tomorrow to go over claims. But just for this year, we have 10 total claims that were turned in to the insurance company. And out of those 10, 7 are still open. We have 3 that have been closed. So we're doing pretty good right now. Start working on getting the rest of those closed, and we're looking pretty good right now. We have a total of 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 medical type of claims with the employees. Fairgrounds had a medical with a finger. Public Works had brakes on a truck issue. Corrections had another medical. Public Works had an issue with the medical, trying to remove a piece of PVC that shattered. Renew had an issue with a chair broke and someone fell on their side. Public Works did have another issue, but it was a really cool thing. It's a near miss. Wearing safety glasses, drill bit broke and gouged the safety glasses. So they're wearing them. So it was a good thing. Could have been a really, it's a near miss. Yeah, it would have been a really bad one. It would have been in the eye and caused some serious injuries. So good thing they're wearing it. And so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I can attest to that. And the same thing happened to me over the weekend.
Yeah. So, I mean, good thing is they're wearing them. So I'm happy to see that and hear that. Been busy with meetings last week. Had 3, 4 of them. I put some of them down. Still working with TS Keith on getting all the forms set up. We basically almost have ready to go with our claim one. So all our claim files that are current and the ones that are recently closed will be digitized in the next, hopefully within the next month or so. Once it's set, I'll start digitizing them. So that'll be quite the process. And then we've got the claim one set up, and then we're working on getting other ones for certificates of insurance, memorandum of coverages, and all these different ones. So that'll all be set up and put on Laserfish. Met with Brian Hurst at Public Works and showed him a digital form through Safety Culture. Safety Culture is who I used with Clear Risk. It's a company that's a great one that we're possibly looking at using for the reports we use for the quarterly for the safety team for the different locations to track all the different reports, just to do it digitally. And the nice thing is, talking with TS, we have so many different cell phones that are not being used that we can use the old cell phones, download the app, which is a free app, and use the old cell phones to do those reports. And it wouldn't cost the county anything extra by have to buy new equipment. It'll just be a small fee for the program. And so we're looking at that.
So we have extra cell phones that are still working? I mean,
They've been phased out, that they're to the age where they're not being
okay,
used.
so they're not still hooked to the.
No, they're not being
Wi-Fi.
used. They're
Okay.
old and then not being used, but they can still be used for other things.
Okay.
And all you need is Wi-Fi to download it. And then once you're on Wi-Fi, it'll download the report and you can actually go on the computer and finish the report, or on the phone. But on a little cell phone, it's a little hard to see things and type.
Yes.
Unless you're really good. I still make mistakes because I can't see as well. But it can be done on a cell phone. But it's nice. It's color coordinated, green good, yellow's not so good, red is bad. And so it's really clean. And it just documents everything nicely. Also met with Renew last week to talk about their active killer training that they're having coming up. So working with them on that and going to be attending those trainings and some of the things they're doing in the future. So they brought me in the loop on a lot of their things. So I'll be attending their trainings and getting involved with them more and more. So that was a really interesting thing that they're doing and helping them out. So that's a lot of the things I've been doing recently. Any questions you guys have for me?
You seem to be busy.
I am very busy.
Plenty thing. Yeah, you're finding plenty to do.
Yes.
Good.
On 17th, and then was at Friday at the storage where we have boxes. I think we have 17 plus boxes that can be shredded. So that's going to be the next process.
What's the standard for shredding?
So with insurance claims, if no claim has been filed, it's 3 years from the date closed. If a claim's been filed, it's 6 years at date of close. If it's litigated, it's date of the claim was closed plus 10 years. And so the problem is with the way it's currently written on the report, it has a date of open, but no date of when the claim was closed. So I basically have to go through every piece of paper in there to find the date of close on that, and then I can find out the date. So some of them there's nothing, and so I got to go find it. So I'm gonna have to go through a lot of files to try to find the date of close.
So if you shred them, what's the size you can shred them down to? Is there a minimum or maximum size, or just as long as they're shredded?
They're shredded. I go by the state requirements, so we throw them in our shred piles, and we have a company come in and do it for us. So
The only reason I ask is we have a shredder that's not being used at all.
yeah,
I thought Tom said it wasn't working. We just had to.
No, it works. It's just shreds in a wider,
Oh.
yeah.
like a 1/2 inch white strip.
Yeah,
I just didn't know.
I wouldn't know. I just don't know about that. I'd have to find out. Just I could ask Emily. She'd probably be the best one to know. But something, especially the litigated stuff with all that information, there's some things we probably don't want. We want finers.
I think it's super easy to just throw it in our container and then nobody else is in there.
Yeah.
Shred it.
I mean, 17 boxes is a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna go through all that.
We could probably get 6 in our container, 5 or 6.
Our container's full upstairs. And the treasurer's full as well because it was filled by Barb and Kaylin from stuff that they pulled out to be shredded. So
Borrow somebody else's for a bit.
yeah, we can. So yeah, no, it's staying busy. A lot of things we're finding and going through. So it's going good though. A lot of things.
I'm glad we have you here.
I'm glad to be here. I'm enjoying it.
Yes.
So. It's a nice short meeting today with me, unless you guys don't have anything else for me.
I got nothing.
If I do, I'll just ask you.
Yeah, please do. Open door.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
All right, we will go into recess until 1 p.m. and we're back for position review. Good afternoon. It is 1 p.m. and we are here for our position management review. Welcome HR and accounting.
Hello. Okay.
Okay, so I believe we have two items today. The first is Veteran Services. Which you have a copy of it, but Gina can also pull it up on the screen, I believe. Would you guys like me to do that? Yes, please, if you would. Veteran Services is requesting one position, office assistant. Go through the slides. Gina. Yeah. Here you go. Oh, it went away. Is it not coming up?
Do you have to push a button, Rob?
Did
you unplug it?
There you go. Okay. Okay, so do you want to go through this?
However you want to do this, first time going through it, so whatever we have to do.
We'll just go through. So county mission statement, we put that in all the slides, or all of them. So introductory of the position. Let me speak to it.
So the biggest thing is for Veteran Services to get this new full-time position to act as a backup and as a person to be in the office full-time. Now that we have a new position on Ivy Street and its own office where people can come in and walk in and request Veteran Services, it's always been something to where wherever I was at, whenever I was busy on the phone call talking to someone, the mission stops to where if I can get a second person, if I'm in a conference or in a meeting like this, the office doesn't shut down just for one person. We can keep communicating with the community and bringing people in. Right now, the biggest problem is the fact that we do have a great spot. There is that foot traffic. We are right next to Hope Source, where if there is a veteran in need and homeless, Hope Source immediately redirects them to me, which is, like I said, about 20 feet away. So walk-ins definitely came up. Usually in my day, usually looks like about 3 to 4 meetings a day, and the meetings last between an hour to an hour and a half, to where while I'm in the meeting or otherwise occupied, that's it. There's nothing else. I'm not responding to calls or emails during that time. Walk-ins, usually I'm seeing between 5 to 9 people walking in just to ask basic questions. Can go from a 5-minute question to a little bit more elaborate 30-minute discussion about whatever resources or veteran benefits there is. And that's only if I'm not currently with any veterans at that time. Sometimes I do have to turn people away and I'll give them a card, and that's usually the last I see of them, because a lot of veterans and almost a lot of people in general, if they feel like you brushed them off, they're not going to come back and seek services. And just include emails and calls I get between my work phone and my office number, between 30 to 40 emails a day. I get 20 to 30 from the VA, from veterans, from other organizations that we're working in tandem with. So definitely a lot for one person. If I can get just that one extra person to give a little bit of relief, that would be great. So as a veteran service officer, my job is to engage veterans in with the VA claims, health benefits, burial benefits. This will definitely help out with, the person coming will definitely help out to increase the productivity in that, to know what they're coming in for, be able to route them that right way, whether it's health benefits, claim benefits, or burial benefits. As we have the VetCorps Navigator in position right now with me, that has increased people knowing that I'm here in the county, so which is a good thing. But because of that increase, I'm getting a lot more people coming to request my services. Yeah, so basically, if we can get that next person in, I feel like the office will definitely run more smoother, be able to be more the communication between the office, to where I know what's going to happen. I know if there's someone there with me, I'll be able to help alleviate some tasks, especially if I end up leaving somewhere for a long period of time, a week, 2 weeks, a month. That person will be there in the office and the whole function doesn't stop. Prior, back in 2023, I left for about 2 months for parenting leave. And during that time, everything stopped. Luckily, during that time, we had Jerry Gingrich, and he covered for me. But we do not have anyone else now that can cover for me as a second. So we definitely need that next body to be able to cover if I end up leaving or something were to happen to me.
So what I hear you say is you'd like to take a vacation.
It'd be nice.
Okay.
So funding through the Veterans Assistance Fund, which is a standalone funding, we'll be able to pull it out. We did budget it for this past year into the cost for this year, but nothing was set in stone. We wanted to go through this process first, but everything has been budgeted for this person to come on. And yep, is there any questions?
Questions from the commissioners? I have one question.
Yes.
The position you currently have, that,
The vet court navigator, yeah, that's more of an outreach position.
right, and that is July to July?
That one's July through August.
July to August.
I'm sorry, September through August. They started in September. July was the date we applied for it, and we got it in September.
Do you anticipate that grant's gonna continue?
They're talking right now, usually you can apply for it as early as March, but right now, because of last year's incident where they couldn't find grants, and then this year with the new administration changes, they might not get that grant again. So the likelihood of getting a vet court navigator position is very low. And if they do get a grant for that position again, for my site to be selected again is pretty low as well, because it's all statewide and they're trying to get it to where there's not that many resources or people that haven't done it before in the past.
Thank you for that clarification. Appreciate it. Okay, so I can verify that all HR documentation is up to date. Any payroll?
No, it looks good.
Budget? Sandy?
Well, I don't see it as, I think it wasn't part of the ones that were pre-approved in this to come out of 105. We don't see it in 104 right now.
Okay.
But I think it definitely was one of the ones they were, you know.
The money was allocated
Yes.
inside the other fund. Okay. So there is funding for it. Commissioners, anything?
I'm just looking at the budget right now, just pulling it up.
My question would be is, will they be funding for it next year? Or is that something we'll have to budget for next year?
Yes, it'll be for this year, next year. This is going to be a full-time position, so we'll definitely, for next year's budget, we'll include it as well. But yes, the end of last year, we did put money off to the side just as a placeholder to make sure to go through this process to make sure it's there, if that's the question.
Yep, thank you.
Do you know what is in your reserve account?
Not right now.
One moment.
It's in the mid-3s last time I saw it.
Yes, it was pretty high up there last time.
It looks like we took out of reserve 81,000 out of reserve to balance your budget this year.
It's not allowing me to remote in right now. I do have access to OneDrive, but I don't know what I would have with their fund balance on there. So I have to get back to you on that for future availability of funding, but
There's a $50,000 increase. Tony, do you know what that increase was from the 24 to 25 budget? I'm just trying to do a comparable really quick.
I thought that was for this position.
Did you cut utilities down from?
Yeah, so that's what it was. It was for that position specific. Yes, it was for that specific, this position I'm asking for.
You cut direct, I'm just verifying you cut direct VA.
Yes, because we did not spend anywhere where I had
Okay.
projected, because I was getting veterans connected with the VA.
Okay.
How much new money have you brought into the county with that?
Just right now, $3 million since I started. Passive income right now is $300,000 a month that comes in passively. So retroactive pay, 3 million, and then every month going forward, changing every month when I get new rewards, over 300,000.
Well, that's a staggering number. Good work.
Thank you.
That's, warms my heart. That's amazing.
If I may, for the record, he is the only accredited and certified service officer in Grant County right now. Any veteran that wants to go to the VA, if they want a service officer assistance, they'll need to talk to him. So he's doing an incredible job.
Well, good work, Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay. Mandy will get back up to us and we'll bring it back to the board tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in, Joe.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't see it in the current budget. But I think it was part of the 25.
I think it was.
Forgot to ask, did you know if you applied for the Core Navigator? It's not out yet.
It's not out yet.
Okay.
And there's no guarantee that he would get it, is what he said.
It's kind of a different tone because before that's when we did the larger office. It was just annual.
Yeah, well, and I anticipate that the state being $10 billion off on their budget.
Probably impacts a little bit.
Probably a little bit. Impacts everybody a little bit, so.
We all know why our governor left now.
Yeah.
Well, we needed to.
Oh, boy. Okay, it's me now, huh?
It's you. It's all you.
All right. Well, thank you, board. I'm here to talk about with the settling of our deputy sheriff's contract to move forward with, I feel like we do this every year. I'm trying to find a way we don't have to do this every year, every time we have a contract settled. But to talk about the command staff and first line staff compression with the sheriff's office. So the mission statement of the county is the mission of the Grant County is to meet the current and future needs, serving together with the public and private entities while fostering a respectful and successful work environment. And as well as the sheriff's office mission statement, enhance the quality of public safety through unbiased public service and cooperations with the communities that we serve. So talking about the introduction and overview of the maintaining compressed salaries for the command executives, just some things that are a little bit of a benefit for not only the agency, but the community as a whole, as you have increased leadership responsibilities for the command staff. They're people in the positions that are position of accountability. They have to hold people accountable. They have to do investigations to make that happen. They do decision-making authority for several things in the command staff and the sheriff's office for each division that they're working in. Manage a wide range of strategy. We talk about, of course, the budgets. We'll talk about that here in a second, most likely. Crisis response, I don't think that's any surprise to anybody. The command structure has to, and the command staff executives, deal with the crisis response that happens out in the community. Interagency relations, not only relations with the agencies we have in the community as far as our municipal partners, but quite frankly, all through the state. When we start talking about relationships with other agencies as other resources, the board's familiar with the support letter they just did with Chelan County Sheriff's Office for the air unit. Those are relationships that we maintain with the Sheriff's Office at the command level structure to make sure that keeps happening. Of course, the command staff is on call 24/7. I no longer allow our command staff to go take part-time employment outside of the county to make sure that they are available 24/7. Help retain experienced leaders with the command executives with compressing the salaries because let's face it, not a lot of people are super excited about taking on a command levels executive and taking on all the liability and the responsibility that a sheriff's office brings and a jail brings. So maintaining that does make it a little bit more appealing for those experienced leaders in the agencies. Encourage progressive or career progression in the agency. And that kind of reflects back in the previous one we talked about for retaining the experienced leaders in the positions that they're in. Reflect the complexities of their role. All the units within the sheriff's office and the divisions are very complex, from the jail, emergency management, the field operations, investigative division, and then to the undersheriff with the budget and all the liability and disciplinary things that he also deals with as well. It ensures effective leadership, operational efficiency, and long-term organizational stability. Current challenges and problems that we have in maintaining appropriate salary compensation between line level deputies and command executives and law enforcement. It does help address several key challenges. One being morale and motivation. Command executives carry significant responsibilities, including managing personnel, policy enforcement, public relations. If the pay gap between leadership and frontline deputies is too narrow, it can lead to dissatisfaction among executives who feel their expertise and workload are undervalued. Proper salary differentiation helps maintain morale, ensuring leadership remains engaged and committed to the agency's success, which of course then at that point is to the community's success as well. Incentivizing career advancement. Without clear financial incentive for promotion or appointment, many qualified leaders choose to remain in their current positions with the sheriff's office. Again, it's sometimes not super appealing to jump into a position that has all of the liability with the agency. I theoretically carry all of the liability, but our divisions and command executives within those units carry that liability as well. Workload responsibility imbalance. Unlike line level deputies who primarily focus on enforcement and patrol duties, the command executives manage a large-scale operations and planning for incidents that may be happening on the patrol level, detectives level, emergency crisis out there in the community that may happen as well. We're also responsible for ensuring compliance with local, state, and federal regulations. And of course, their workload extends more than just a normal shift that they're working. Avoiding legal and financial risks. Law enforcement, unfortunately, that's something that I don't think we're going to ever get away from completely. But if we can help mitigate that by working through accreditation, by working through risk management, internal investigations, ensuring agency-wide compliance with our laws and policies, that ends up having an impact on liability, lawsuits, public relations crises, and things like that. Maintaining proper salary compensation. Law enforcement agencies can ensure strong leadership, effective operations, and long-term organizational success. So the details of the request. To maintain the established salary compensation between the line level deputies and the executive command staff, I'm requesting a 6% salary increase in 24 and a 6% salary increase in 25 for the chief deputy and undersheriff classifications. Historically, this is something that the board has approved, the 10% spread annually between the lieutenant and chief deputies to ensure that that compensation remains consistent with the executive command structure of the sheriff's office. I'd also like to have part of that request, because I do have Undersheriff McMillan retiring, to include that with his in the 24 and 25 what he's going to have there, as well as, just Undersheriff McMillan, sorry. Okay. Approving this request will honor the compensation precedent that has been historically maintained and will support continued success of the Grant County Sheriff's Office. And sorry for the small fonts there. I clearly didn't tighten that up a little bit. But maintaining the appropriate salary structure to the Sheriff's Office assures its leadership remains strong, its operations run efficiently, and its personnel remains motivated to grow within the agency, ultimately benefiting the entire community it serves. So benefit to the GCSO executives, command staff is fair compensation for increased responsibilities. I basically touched on that already. The wide range that they oversee in the agency, strategic planning, budgeting, personnel management, crisis response, and things like that, ensuring their salaries reflect those added responsibilities, demonstrates recognition for their leadership roles. Retention of experienced leadership. Compensation helps retain seasoned law enforcement professionals, preventing the loss of institutional knowledge when you have people in those roles. That's probably a very, very large piece of that, is that institutional knowledge. When you have people that have been in the agency in various roles for 20 plus years, that's knowledge you cannot replace. Recognition of 24/7 availability and commitment. Unlike line level deputies who work set shifts, the command staff must be available at all times. Of course, as exempt employees, we are paid by the work that we do, not the hours of work we put in. As executive exempt employees. So proper salary does reward that. Boosting morale and job satisfaction, I think that probably goes without being said. Maintaining the spread between the management level and the line level is, of course, gives another piece of the job satisfaction. Benefits to the Grant County Sheriff's Office as a whole, ensuring leadership and stability and continuity. Well-compensated executive command staff ensures long-term stability and leadership with the agency. You get to a place where you have your line level staff financially making more money than a command level staff. There's no incentive to take those command level leadership roles. And when you have command level leaders within the line level, and they're not willing to take that step, it really takes an impact on the community as a whole, quite frankly. Encouraging career progression and internal promotion. Again, competitive salaries, incentivize deputies to seek advancement, strengthen their leadership and development to get into that role of an executive level leader in the agency. Improved operational effectiveness. When you have strong, stable command team, it stabilizes and enhances that efficiency, ensuring resources are allocated properly, crises are managed effectively, community trust and agency remains strong. Reduce legal and financial risks. Command executives play an executive role in compliance, policy enforcement, risk management, accreditation. Proper compensation helps retain the leaders who are skilled at mitigating those things. So we get into the monetary, just a monetary perspective. Of course, I mentioned earlier, this is just a reflection of how things are at the executive level. This is nothing we know. We're not entitled to any of this. This is just to give you a perspective of the extra hours that executive level leaders put in. So every year we work approximately 208 10-hour days. And when I was a chief deputy between 2019 and 2022, I worked an extra 473 hours or 47.3 days of not extra compensated time by the hour. So I basically worked an extra 2.3 months of extra work that were not compensated by hour. Of course, as an executive and an exempt employee, salary-wise, it is compensated, it is, but this is just a perspective of how much extra time executives do put in to the agency that may not be recognized as an hourly waged employee would be. In 2023, the executive team worked 467.5 hours over the regular time, which again is not compensated at an hourly rate. The amount of extra executive time provided to the citizens of Grant County at no additional cost was roughly almost $45,000. Just like I said, it's merely just a perspective is all it's meant to be. So the cost, when it comes down to this, the 2023 current cost of the chief deputy is $138,300. The undersheriff of $146,600. Proposed in 2024 at the 6% increase would be chief deputy at $141,100. Undersheriff at $149,500. And in 2025 with that increase, $149,600 for the chief deputy. Undersheriff at $158,600. So the total increased pay in over 2 years would be $54,000, just about $55,000 over 2 years. And how that's broken down is the $10,000, almost $11,000 for chief deputy. There's 4 of them, which is your $43,008, and then $11,000 for the undersheriff. And I did verify these with HR and with our accounting and the budget when we did. I think when it comes into the budget questions, Mandy she'll bring it up to you that the back up a minute. The 149 and the 158 was included in the budget, but in the holding budget, if I'm saying that right?
Yes, Joe, and I hope you never, ever, ever do that again. Ever.
No, and honestly, but we included it in there and went with Mandy to try to prepare for the future and not hold your feet to the fire, so
No,
to
what
speak.
happened is we've asked everybody else not to put in the budget.
Yes.
So nobody else had that except for you. And if you did during budget time, it was already in the budget.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you, it made it very, very difficult to tell everybody else.
Sure.
I'm just saying.
Lesson learned.
Speaking on the
Lesson
other 500 employees, you get a 2.6% increase. But because you had a sheriff that put it in the budget, he
Right.
gets the 6%. So
Yeah.
I'm just sharing.
No, I get
the
it.
frustration that I lived through.
Yes, and that it was completely unintended. We thought we were doing a good thing by at least having the board aware of where we may sit financially. So I think we'll be able to work through it, for the next time to understand that, okay, here's our budget, but this is like the just in case column, I guess, so to
That was
speak.
probably,
So-
that was just me.
yeah.
I don't know if the others felt.
No,
that.
and I completely understand that. I truly do. And again, it was totally unintended. It really was. I was trying to help you out, so to speak, and ended up being a nightmare inadvertently. Sorry about that. But I think financially, that's, I think my numbers are right. I hope they are. So I know that was a quick kind of down and dirty. I'm trying to respect everybody's time, but
So do they get the line staff or your undersheriffs, do they get the 2.6 or they get no increase? How does that typically work?
I believe that they got the 2.6, if I remember right, or whatever the,
What, I think it was a 2.6.
yeah, whatever the, I'm gonna use my terms, and it's
Okay.
probably wrong. The COLA,
Yes, the COLA.
okay? This would be the difference between the 6% and the 2.8. So it's not 6% on top of that.
Okay,
It would
it's
be
the difference.
the difference between the two. Because I based it all based on where their current is in 23, where they were at. So I didn't, that 2.6, whatever it was, Cindy, you said,
It could have been
would be
2.8,
within
but
that,
something-
would
okay,
be within that
difference between the
6%.
COLA.
Yeah, it's within there. Hopefully I explained that right.
So I do have a question. Out of your 208 hours that are 10-hour days, are those, because you guys normally work 4 10-hour shifts. So do you know, when you did that calculation, did you take that into consideration of those extended days?
Yeah, we did. So, but we didn't do it this year in 24. We just did it in 23 at the recommendation of HR director at the time. They just said it doesn't do you any good to keep track of these extra hours. So that's why I don't have it for 2024. But those would include days like on Fridays when guys come in on the Fridays to work. That doesn't count any time working at home, which happens all the time. It doesn't count the phone calls you get in the middle of the night. That's office time is what that is. That's extra office time. So that answer your question?
Yep, it does.
And if I can just clarify, there was a question about time in the sheriff's office in 2021?
Yes, I believe it was
2022?
21, 22, somewhere in there, yeah.
And so the HR director had advised to utilize Nova time and calculate those extra worked hours as exempt time, which in the HR office, we use Nova time as well. We're capturing those hours. Where it got complicated was the administrative assistant at the time was tracking those hours outside of the timekeeping system, which was not advisable. It's not that the sheriff couldn't have continued that practice, he just needed to do that in Nova time. So it's the only clarification I want to make.
Thank you. And that's accurate. One other thing I was gonna bring to you today, and I totally forgot, it's laying on my desk, I'll probably bring it over to you anyway, is, I mentioned earlier about having to not do this every time we have a contract settlement where it just, whatever happens, just happens. So I grabbed a resolution from the Douglas County for their sheriff's office. And I also have one for Yakima County. They do a resolution that covers all their administrative staff, not just myself. I think the resolution just covers me right now, being 6% above the undersheriff. So where Douglas County that covers their chief deputy, their undersheriff, and their sheriff. So anytime there is a settlement, a contract, the resolution just kicks in. And it doesn't have to be a presentation every single time. But I meant to bring that for you today. It's on my desk. I'll grab it and I will bring it over probably tomorrow during the consent. That way you can at least have it. But just to try to find a way to, I guess, be more efficient with everybody's time, I don't have to do this every time.
And if the board is interested in a resolution, I would recommend doing it by date, not after any sort of settlement.
I was gonna say, what's wrong with doing this every year? It's always so much fun.
It doesn't bother me. It's just like everybody's time. I know everybody's busy, and I know that time is very valuable.
Yes, it
The
is.
struggle I have with not doing it every year, Joe,
Mhm.
is that you weren't here last week and most of the people in the room weren't here. But we did the bonds for the jail and looked at your reserve money for that fund too. And the next 6 years are not good, not good at all. Like pulling money out of other budgets in order to cover the jail. And the jail's already deferred interest for the first 5 years. Deferred, so you're not even making a principal payment for 5 years.
principal. Yeah, we're paying the interest, that's it.
Because you can't afford to make the payment on the bond. Which you'll probably get to go over that again tomorrow. You should be in that meeting.
Yeah, I'll be
I
there
assume.
tomorrow,
But I think it's just important to touch on it while we go through this because unfortunately for you or the next sheriff, I think there's going to be budget cuts for you guys because of what's coming. I mean, it's going between the million for corrections increases and then the making the payments on the bond for the next few years. We're going to have to probably pull from other accounts, and that's at the 5% increase.
Sure.
And so far in 25, we're at a 2-point-something% increase. So we're already 2.5% low of our projections for this year.
Sure.
So it's just I think it's gonna be harder for the next while.
And I'm not against doing it every year. I mean, or whatever needs to happen. I'm really not against it. I was just, it's another option that was out there that I at least wanted to provide you, so you had it. Again, I'm not against doing it. It's fine with me. It doesn't bother me a bit doing it. So, quite frankly, I kind of liked it myself doing it, honestly, because it helped me get a perspective of where we were, and perspective financially, as well as really kind of digging into the research of what we're doing administratively as far as the agency goes. So, yeah.
So this is standard, the master sheet is the standard calculation, which Joey talked about, which was the 10% spread between chief deputy and lieutenant. And then there's a built-in, I believe it's sorry Cindy, it's gonna mess up your eyes. A 6% spread between undersheriff and then chief deputy. So if the board wanted to do what they did last year, this is what those numbers would look like. COLA is factored into that 10% spread. So it's not on top of, it does factor that in because everybody did get increases in 2024 and 2025.
And that's a resolution that we have, a 2% increase, a 10% spread.
We don't have a resolution.
No,
It has
the
just
only
been the
resolution we have is my difference between the undersheriff and the sheriff is 6% increase. Yeah, that's the only resolution that we have. Yeah.
Cindy, what this version is what the county has done in the past. Without very much deviation.
Like Kevin standing in front of it.
So then I have option 2, which factors in a 2% instead of 10. It factors in a 2% spread. You'll notice that there is no increase due because a 2% spread is less than COLA given for both years. Does that make sense? Okay. The third option I put together would be a 4% spread. Just want to verify. Yep, 4% spread. Again, not factoring in COLA, it would amount to no increases because COLA would have been more than what a 4% spread would be for 2024 and 2025. Still tracking? Okay. The last option I put together is a.
Oh,
sorry.
I have to do it too.
Is 6%, a 6% spread. In 2024, there would be no increase due because the amount that was given at COLA would have been more than a 6% spread. It would be one due in 2025, which would be $1.09 for chief deputies and $1.15 for the undersheriff. And then you have your current 2-year total cost, and then the 2-year cost of the increase, 2-year total cost for 2024 and 2025. So I hope that made sense to everybody, how that math was done and what those numbers mean.
Okay, so all paperwork,
for putting
all of
those different summaries.
documentation, HR documentation is completed and we
Yes.
reviewed that.
Yep, and I'll mark it. I didn't print it, so I will mark it.
I had a question.
Yep.
I just wanted to clarify, you mentioned, is there any way to get ahead of this process and set it up in a way where it's not dependent on when the contract settles? Does that make sense? No, there's no way to get ahead of it. This is just where we're at.
No, even if we did a resolution, it still wouldn't take place until the CBA was settled.
But I would want a resolution not to be contingent on that,
Mhm.
because then we face a potential ULP.
Yeah.
It
And
can't be
even if we were to do it that way, we still have to wait for the contract to be done.
No, we could do, if we did a resolution, we could make it dependent on a date.
Yeah, that's.
Regardless of,
Regardless
it
of.
just has to be regardless of, which is why it's a yearly process. Because those numbers will,
Bless you.
could
So I
change.
think we if we did it like based on the date, then we could do it without like that, and it's independent from that contract, we don't have to wait till that contract ended, or we still do.
We would want the date to be after any potential settlement.
There's no way to get away from that. Okay.
You want to get away from retro? So you want to get away from
Yes,
retro?
I want to get rid of it.
Let's get
That's
rid
what I'm
of
trying to
it.
say, 'cause this creates
We
the
even
most-
try not to do retro.
Worst
but-
hardship in the world.
I'm hopeful for this next,
Yeah.
bargaining last year was much better than it has been historically. I've been a part of a lot of bargaining. And I'm really thinking this year's probably even gonna be much better too. At least I'm hopeful for it. I feel like it will be. I think we learned a lot during bargaining last year. And I'm hopeful that it'll be better this year, to at least hopefully trim back that retro quite substantially, because now we're sitting at a year and 3 months right now, so.
And I see what you're saying
Yeah.
about not creating retro. I don't know how we would get away from it.
Okay. Is it because you need to see what the final salary is for the? Okay.
Right.
Okay, that's
There's
okay.
a spread.
Because it's a 10% spread above.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, that's perfectly
They're trying
fine.
to say we're special.
But then they can't be dependent on it either. So
Right.
we're in this very weird spot.
Yeah.
Perfect. No, I just wanted to make sure I was clear
Yeah.
on that. That's okay.
Tyler,
Yes.
when it's in place, it will do all of that calculation for you, hopefully. So
Yeah.
it's the hope, the dream,
The hope, that is the hope.
the hope and dream that it works.
Because it hasn't looked
Hopefully not
yet.
have to worry about retro.
Yes,
You know, get
absolutely.
settled time.
We would love to have that done.
I do have a comment, and I do want to say, just from a payroll perspective, my position, I have to say it's non-compliant just because of the retro piece, but I strongly advocate, I do think, I don't even care that's non-compliant, I do want to see this go through, it's very important. I've had several, your men question me, like, they ask me, they're like, what, if I take this exempt position, I'm losing all my overtime, is that even worth it in the end for them? And so I think this is really important, and it does create a hardship with me, and it's not compliant, but I do want to see it go forward, so.
Got it, thank you.
Budget? We just sucking all our money, huh?
I already screwed up and put it in there.
No, that
I messed
that was
up.
my suggestion to make it better, but okay, yeah, I mean, I have no problems with it.
Is it in budget?
Yes. it
I'll mark
is.
that box. Okay. With a note from Cindy that don't do that.
Don't do that
And
ever
I
again.
will also comment, we are $2 million off on our insurance. Was it $2.4 million on some revenue that was supposed to come in, and then there was another $2 million hit on something we were short. So we're looking at, it was like $6 million we're short of revenue.
for 2025 that we either over budget or something happens. So I think as we're sitting here, we're getting a little bad news delivered to us. Kevin, Rob, what was that third one? I can't remember what that third one was.
I don't remember the third one.
Yeah, I don't remember there being a third one. I remember those.
Yeah, I wish we didn't carry all the liability we carried and didn't have to ask for this.
The property liability, I
You
don't.
have to go
remember
start
being-
making some revenue.
I think it was only 800,000. Joe was trying to say it was like closer to 2 million, but
But
no.
two writing more tickets. Okay, maybe it was 4 months.
But-
I was obviously going to go 6.
I think they were still trying to work through it. There was.
We were debating it and then I figured out where the error was.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was just because it included mental health and veterans
That's what it
assistance.
was,
That's-
yeah.
So which is close to 800,000.
Okay.
That was the difference. Oh, at least the REC amount was 800,000.
Oh, the other one is if the, I believe the server farms, if we have to pay back the revenue that we, it's that lawsuit. I knew there was something.
That was 500,000.
What lawsuit
was that? The server farms in the Quincy area.
data
The
Oh,
data
solar-
centers.
oh,
Yes,
okay.
are, if it goes to the BTA.
BTA.
And they rule against the county has to pay back all the property taxes that they overpaid, even though it would go to the city of Moses Lake, whatever, all Quincy, all of those. And then we slowly.
Did we ever get our 600,000 back from City Woods Lake? Because I know they haven't sold them. They just said they changed their mind, they're still keeping them.
No, they
Oh,
were
that's for
planning
the,
to sell them, but they haven't found a buyer.
ARPA,
Okay.
the ARPA stuff, totally
If
different
they do
account.
sell them, that's all our money, right?
But it goes to ARPA. To ARPA, not current expense.
Can go to something thing.
We'll be doing some creative financing.
I double checked, I don't have the VA assistance. I think that was a position we scrapped. Like when it was brought up, when we were cutting the VA assistance position, but there is enough funding in his fund balance, close to 400 and some thousand.
469,000.
To cover the VA assistance, but I think it was one during the budgeting time where we scrapped it.
Well, and it doesn't come out of current expense, it comes after. It'd be nice to know if the VedCor navigator.
We have the navigator position out of veterans assistance.
Yeah, and that's what, $3,000 to $5,000 for the
It was
year.
like 3,500.
Yeah. Excuse me. That's all the county pays for that one. So
It'd be nice if we got
the rest of it
the
is
grant.
grant. Okay, any comments, questions from the commissioner for the sheriff? Okay.
Sorry to attack you, Joey, that did not come off as a.
No, it's totally fine.
Did we get the speeding ticket on the way home today?
Yeah.
Good, he needs to make some revenue.
I was gonna say.
Hit her twice.
Okay.
A mile an hour below the speed
Cool.
limit.
We will forward it to the commissioners tomorrow during the HR meeting. Okay, thank you, everyone. That's all we have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go in, are you guys done for?
We are done.
KRP2? Okay, we'll go in
Sure.
recess until 2 p.m. Good afternoon, it is 1:56 p.m. We didn't have a commissioner work session. Is there any comments anyone would like to make?
It's almost 2:00. Yeah, for the agenda, Raina, for the work session, Raina, who is doing the youth exchange, would like to use one of our county vehicles to shuttle the teachers around back and forth. She did it before when, I think, the teachers or some other delegation.
One of our vans or something.
We've gone through before. She is a contract employee, so
I don't see
her
it.
liability, but I guess we can ask her. She sent the dates. Caitlin, I emailed it to Caitlin. It would be,
Yes, it's April 30th through May 3rd.
okay.
And I had put this as a bullet for one of the work sessions tomorrow.
Oh, okay, because I thought it was maybe today. I'm like, why I missed that one? I better bring it up. Okay, thank you, Caitlin.
April 30th, and they should just drop by my office and see how crazy it is, just to show how excited how people love
And
to
you'll
pay
be wearing a
taxes.
tie?
Everybody loves to pay property taxes. Daryl?
That puts me in a bad mood, to be totally honest with you.
It didn't necessarily put me in that bad a mood until I sat here, and then now it kind of does.
The good thing is you have 15 days after you've paid your federal taxes to settle down to pay your property taxes. So that's a good thing.
Oh, wow.
Settle down.
Never looked at it in that bright way.
The sun will come up tomorrow.
Right.
Just give the government your bottom dollar.
Yep.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, how are you all?
So the people from the veterans tell you actually how much was in the account?
Yeah, we are over.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we dropped it off.
I also told them that there's a law out there that says if you don't start spending down your money, then the commissioners have the ability to levy less.
I don't think it's a lack of him trying to spend it.
Oh, don't worry. I think we're gonna hit it.
Unless you want to use some of that money for homelessness.
I think we're gonna.
I don't know if there's any veterans that are currently using any of those facilities.
Our $800 fair bond will be paid off, I think, in 27 or 28. I'm gonna say 27.
I still have not looked at that.
Oh, no.
That was awesome for Jim to put that together and get it sent out.
I know, I'm like, yes, okay, well, there's our mortgage payment right there, or really close. Let's get through.
Tomorrow's practice session, have you gotten all of the data we need for that? You know, Jim sent out a sheet a number of months ago that said we need this information, that information. Do you know if anybody has?
We sent a lot of information regarding our stuff.
Okay.
Jim just sent me an email just now. I haven't opened up to see if he's missing some pages. He had sent out of a 10-year revenue projection on Thursday evening, or Amanda sent it to me late Thursday, and then we talked at Friday afternoon how her numbers didn't make sense and were not logical. So then then we found a lot of the reasons why her numbers were wrong. And I told her on Friday that I would, if we can set up the correct numbers for 25 from our budget, then I'll project the rest of the 10-year time period for those revenues. I have not seen anything from her yet.
After this meeting, can you and I get together for a couple minutes?
Sure.
Are you ready to start your meeting?
Yes.
All right, it's 2 p.m. and we will roll into the treasurer's office update.
Yeah, with things changing on a day-to-day basis, my pre-agenda I'm supposed to do pretty much would have never made on time for the things we're going to talk about. All right, so we finally got the software working to have the assessments put together with the taxes and to show up on our PAX system a correct number. We then did some checks on things and then declared taxes due. At that point in time, we sent a file to Master's Touch. They sent us back some drafts. We were lucky that they picked the parcel they did, because we found that there was a glitch, which for delinquent accounts for certain that had certain taxing districts, not that many, that the interest and penalties was doubled on their bills, on their delinquency. When looking, and then when we saw the one parcel that was way off, then we looked at every single taxing district to see if there was a problem. We found 5 others out of the multitude of taxing districts we had to look at. That we had to fix. That meant we needed to send a new file to Master's Touch. We tried to start that on Friday morning, and the file in PAX got stuck downloading at 80%. And then Connie tried to do it again this weekend, and then back and forth. They were not successful. They would not let her start over. They wanted their people, tax people, to look at it and try to figure out why it got stuck on the download. And so right now, we're still waiting for PAX to let us to fix this so we can send the corrected information to Masters Touch so they could start the process of making the statements. So that's where we're at.
So they'll have to send out new statements then?
Well, we hadn't sent out statements yet. They just sent us drafts.
Okay.
And we didn't have, they don't do the whole print until we get sign off on the order. We didn't sign off. We had a couple other areas that the font was way too small. And we asked them if they could change that regarding legal description and stuff like that in one certain area. And then we found this problem. I alerted them that we had to send a new file after we get these things fixed. And then we got them fixed. And then we've just not been able to send a new file to them yet. People are paying online. And people calling, we're letting them know that the taxes are available. They can make payment in case they can't wait for a statement. Supposedly, everyone's leaving the country. It has to have this statement now. And so it says, God, and said, well, the data's on there. You don't need a tax statement to pay your taxes.
Right.
You just need the data.
And it's correct on the website.
Right, and the website is correct at this time. There was a point that I requested the website wasn't correct early last week, but they turned it on, and then I turned in a ticket to turn it off. They didn't turn it off until Thursday. And that was the time had everything fixed and we wanted it back on. And so we had to ask for them to turn it back on so that we had new numbers. But we already have people sending in payments off the website when it was wrong that we're having to return. And so that's not fun. The revenues, we'll be talking again at the end of this month about revenues, but the way things are happening right now, I'm not looking forward to a very good year. Everything seems to be people wanting to hold on to their money and be not spending this year. That will hurt us a lot regarding the revenues we need to pay bills. So I just want to let you know there's a lot of talk about people just not spending as much. And that's a big deal to us. So we'll see how our numbers for March go.
We just gotta wait for the weather to change. Everybody will get out and start spending money.
When we get our statements, then we're working on the drafts. I'm opening up the box today to address our machine to run it through with the drafts and start working on our new payment processing machine to get that set up for when the payments start coming in April in a mass enough to post them through the machine versus manually over the counter. We're still seeing, we had 28 days, our reach was down, but of course, 28 days in February also is our lowest month. So we're not increasing, but we're just plateaued for a while on number of sales, even though
I think March looks pretty good.
But most of these sales are still way above the assessor's value. We did have a meeting with the Port District last week. To tell them that we have some number, we don't know what it is. We haven't agreed yet on what the base number for the TIF is. Melissa, they had a question about a couple parcels and why they're valued. There was one that Melissa kept insisting that it came out of current use in 24 when that was not the case. So there wasn't a reason, especially with so much money paid in 23 for the property. And it came out of current use in 23 when the property was sold. I don't know why she kept insisting that it was in current use and came out in 24. And that's the reason why the property got not valued, updated.
So isn't the title company required to make them pay the 7 years back taxes at closing? When
Yep,
those come out of current use?
Current use rules are, if it is a part of a sale, that current use has to be resolved. If it's in current use, it either has to sign for continuance and an ag plan presented. If there's no ag plan, the assessor's office does not sign off to allow it to continue, then before we can stamp the deed, current use removal tax has to be paid. There's a additional supplement amount on that worksheet, of that old worksheets, because we aren't giving the customers or title companies a worksheet that's allowed by law. But there's no change in assessor's office of providing them the actual correct numbers. The supplement is not required to be paid by law, just the current use removal lien. And so yes, but a lot of our removals are reval removals, where every 6 years, when they send out reval notices, or when they're in reval, then they also send a notice to them to sign and attest and provide an update that they are still continuing using it to qualify for the program. A lot of those people don't respond, and another letter goes out. And when they don't respond again, then they remove them. They don't provide the documents to prove that it should be in the program, then they pull it out, and those are reval removals. We get a lot of those each year.
Right, but when a piece of property sells and it's in current use, if they don't agree to keep it in current use,
And
the seller pays 7 years back taxes.
that's what's normally happens is the seller pays that.
So my question is, some of those were done in 23 or 24, did they not get paid? The
Not
7
for
years back
sellers,
taxes?
not for that situation, all got paid.
Why?
Well, it's because we would stop it. In my office, we get notice of any sale that of a parcel's in current use.
Right.
So then we are waiting for the signature or sign off on the assessor's office, and if we don't get it, then we tell.
So it comes from the assessor's office. If the title company contacts the assessor's office because it is in current use and doesn't get forwarded on to you guys, then you guys don't know about it? Is that?
Well, we know about it when we bring up the parcel, when we try to process the REIT. We have a message that blares out that this is in current use. So then we stop, look for the signature on the affidavit. If we don't have it, then we stop processing it. And then sometimes if it comes through Simplify electronically, it goes straight to us.
Right.
Where it's supposed to go straight to the assessor's office.
So then those parcels that were sold in 23 or 24, did those get paid?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Nope, we get, the only other types of current use removals are voluntary.
Right. Or if they get caught.
Or they're about to get caught.
Right. Okay, I just want to clarify.
Which are not during the reval removal cycle period of being asked. So, and then sometimes you can voluntary and then you get out of paying a late 20% penalty. Still pay the 7 years back.
Right.
So that's a lesson on current use. Okay. We only had one investment mature for $15 million this month. Not sure, we're just not having time to look at options. And we also want to, when we get the monies in May, we have to look at probably at least half of that being invested short-term but we do have a lot of maturities happening in the next 2 years. So we can invest some of those monies for a longer time period because we have other maturities that are going to be there to pay the cash to pay off the jail. So, yeah, so we have a pre-meeting tomorrow. What time's that meeting tomorrow?
1 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, because I have an appointment in Wenatchee.
You're talking about the bond rating?
Right.
Yeah.
our practice meeting.
1 o'clock to 2:30.
Who used to call it the Dog and Pony Show? Remember our previous?
Well, usually dogs and ponies don't really actually sell this county.
That's what they called it, the Dog and Pony Show. Wasn't it Paul, what was his name who did it before, prior to Jim?
But I've got to look at the email Jim just sent and see if we have some information we still need to provide to the bond rating agencies. So that's where we're at in my office for this last few days. Just, the person that sued me a couple years ago, he's trying to pull it again, do it again.
Oh,
Trying to sell property he does not own
okay.
by showing a unrecorded deed where he says he owns it and is never recorded, and that deed would have not, then the deed was not compliant and doesn't provide the language, and you don't even have the seller's notarized signature as part of the document, where he's trying to sell it to someone else.
Same property.
And actually, this is a property he actually was trying to make it's a deed. This property has a mobile home that had damage. The mobile home is actually owned separately. It's not merged with the deed land.
Personal property.
Well, mobile homes are real property per state law, except unless they're uninstalled. So there's the state law, the law definition of real property includes mobile homes that are installed. So he thought he was, this guy came in just asking, thought he was buying a land home package, when actually the mobile home is a totally separate process. And this deed is only for the half interest because both owners are deceased. But one has multiple heirs, and the heirs don't want to deal with him, and they don't want to go through the process to do the half interest. The other deceased person has no heirs. So the only way to deal with that is to go to court. And yet this person was told he owned all of it and the home. And he's trying to get money out of this person, showing a unrecorded deed, saying that he was the owner. He's done this before. I sent it to the sheriff's office.
More information sent to the sheriff's office.
And so he did this in Spokane County. And he's come here trying to do it again because the Attorney General's office went after him when he was in Spokane County on the things he pulled. He lives here. So that's what I've been trying to do, pass out information to the sheriff deputy. And we'll see. Suppose he's been in prison. I was just wondering if this sort of broke his probation.
Maybe.
All right.
Thanks, Daryl.
Thanks, Daryl.
It is 2:15 p.m. and we will now roll into Susie's New Hope update.
You guys not get a break between meetings at all ever?
Sometimes, a lot today.
Sundays are.
Look at all that green, making up for all of us.
Yeah, I don't want to get pinched. I do not want to get pinched.
I don't think people pinch each other anymore.
I know, I was wondering about that. Do they?
Or if you
We're
were
pretty-
male, because HR would
We're
be
pretty
really just.
soft nowadays.
Somebody pinch me.
Thank you.
Could be a form of harassment.
Yeah. So first thing is just any federal funding updates and planning for that. I don't really have any updates there. Not much is moving with the feds right now on any of that, or even our state funding until the state budget is in place. So it's probably just status quo unless something happens. As far as planning, that is part of my travel coming up. I kind of wanted to update you on my leave request and a schedule update here. So this week and next week, I don't have any travel, but then I'll be in SeaTac the week of March 30th. And then the middle of April, I'll be
in Yakima twice, once with Children's Advocacy Center directors and once with domestic violence and sexual assault directors, so that we can do some planning on if and when cuts come through, and some strategic planning on what to do with our contracts. So if we get significantly less funding, we may say, as a whole, we don't want to do 24/7 on-call anymore, or something like that. So there will be some strategic planning around that, but I'm gonna be super busy and in and out of the office. And did I forget my leave slip again? I sat it down on here. Dang it. Oh, no, it's right here. I, before all this crazy stuff begins, I was going to take some time off. So take the 7th through the 10th of April. Thank you. And then I would like to request executive session.
Or
Human resources, personnel.
Employee.
discipline or recruitment or?
It's not recruitment, and I mean.
Evaluation.
It's probably evaluation if it's not recruitment.
Okay.
It's not disciplinary.
It's evaluation.
Okay, how long?
Sure. 10 minutes and then I'll be all done.
219 to 229.
Okay, we will go into executive session beginning at 2:19 PM, returning at 2:29 PM for job applicant / evaluation, RCW 42.30.1101G. It is 2:29 PM and we are out of executive session. No decisions were made. Now you're good to continue.
Okay. I am curious. This is just a question of curiosity on fiscal things that come from like the accounting department. When we get our STAR reports, when those are published, or the RevXs, what is it that you look at for departments and where might you want to be alerted?
So we used to overlook the expenses in the last couple of years, Gerald said, because our revenue's always been pretty hardy coming in. And he said you really need to start looking into revenue because we've had some departments or offices that we will continue the expenses, but the revenue has shot, I mean, just very, very low. And so I think we're looking at revenue now. I think it's just anything that triggers kind of a look. Usually when we have a report, there's kind of a line item, like we're either under on our revenue or over on the expenditure. So it's something that kind of, we just look and kind of keep an eye on that. Something that's just a little.
Is there ever a time where you'd like call me and say, hey?
Yeah, there would
Okay.
be. Well,
Well, it depends
with
on
this
what's
new
presented
commission-
to us.
Yeah.
I mean, if we aren't presented that there's issues going on or the budget doesn't reflect it, then we wouldn't. But if it does, then we would.
Yeah, I'm just trying to stay like ahead of it, like what you're seeing that you would go, oh.
Yeah, no, I don't believe our commissioners have actually called employees probably for like 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
But usually the county would reach out. It's like, I'll just reach out to see what's going on.
Okay.
But
yeah, I watch it super carefully at the micro level, but.
One that has been.
I mean, we could test them and we could have a department have a real shortage and see if they bring it to our attention.
It's highlighted. We'll have like a.
Don't do mine.
Red line through it. It's highlighted. But we usually know the reason why or.
Okay, I'm over time. Do you guys have anything for me?
No.
Hopefully we we have an opportunity for growth in the shortfall, so we will look to remedy the solution. So I'm sorry you had an employee that had to.
Thank you.
What they did.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
See you next week.
It is 2:31 PM and we are going to move into the clerk's office update.
Hello.
Hi.
I actually have some handouts for you guys. Last time Kim was here, she said you were asking about the caseload. And so she pulled up her little graph here from 2007 to basically 2019. And then there's individual pages behind that of the years after 2019. And then there's also a sheet on search warrants, and thought you might want to know how many passports we're doing too.
A lot, because people are looking for your office.
Yes, actually, the caseload, as you can see, from up until 2019, because COVID was 2020, on the first sheet here. The ones that are attached after that are, I guess, post-COVID years. For instance, criminal, from 2007 to 2019, it was in the 7s and 8s and 900 cases filed that year. And once COVID hit, it kind of dropped down into the 500s. Those haven't come up back to the 7s and 800s. And it'll go through each, it shows each type of case that we do, civil to domestic, probate, adoption, mentally ill, dependency, truancy, and juvenile. And then it gives the total for the year of how many cases the clerk's office has. And there again, pre-COVID, it was circling around 3,800 to 4,000. After COVID, it's sitting in the low 3s. So there's, I don't know how much impact COVID had, because I know the search warrants are way up.
I see that.
We've had from 2018 to 2022, the average is about 347 search warrants a year. And in 2023 and 24, they were almost 600. They were 570. Huh?
Were there new rules that were implemented that?
No. These are the same search warrants that have been coming in,
Okay.
and
Fleet of new young officers. Sometimes we see that in tickets. We've got some
right,
aggressive new.
and sometimes I think it's the way the investigation is done, because they'll, let's say, search for a house, and that'll be a search warrant for a house. And then they'll realize maybe there's a car in the garage. So then they'll come back to the judge and they'll get a second search warrant to do the car. Then maybe there's the suspicious backpack in the car that's zipped or whatever. Then they get the search warrant for. So that's not the search warrant amounts isn't going to say we should have, 500 criminal cases off of those 500 search warrants, because a lot of those are still in the same investigation. So they're probably being more thorough and getting search warrants for each thing, so it can't be argued or questioned as much in court. But they have gone up, and the processing of the search warrants is the same. So whether it's a backpack or a car or a house, it all has to be put in the same. So our search warrants are up. And we have stayed pretty consistent in the people wanting to go on vacation with their passports, except for COVID. It's been, 1,500, kind of circling in there, except COVID. COVID was 750 passports that year. Everyone stayed home. But if we look at the numbers for January and February, it's jumped up. They're if they stay on track, they could double the passports this year. Because either that or they're all getting ready for summer.
Well, there's the new laws for travel too.
Yeah, and the identity. You have to have either a passport or that special ID. So that might have something to do with the increase, but they are coming in steady, I can tell you that.
Enhanced, isn't it? Enhanced
Yes.
driver's license.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people are getting their passports done. So that's the caseload that Kim was able to show to you guys. We'll get it up in a full graph. She's at her conference in Leavenworth, I think, this week at her spring conference. So, but we can probably get this all on one graph so you don't have it split up. It's a lot easier to read.
Yeah, that's cool. We were talking about how less cases continue to get tried.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of curious how the numbers look, but it seems to look like you're building back up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. One thing about our business is people can't stay good, so
Well, I don't
it's
think
job
they're-
security.
They're just getting worse and worse.
You know, and the economy has a lot to do with that too. People losing jobs and they resort to, doing criminal acts to supplement. Do you have any other questions for Kim that I could let her know to give
No,
you
this
next
is
time?
cool.
No, thank you for this information.
Juveniles sure up.
Yeah.
And it's not, last year it's up. And I know that's way more lenient than it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. The adoption is way down. The adoption and paternity is way down. It's in the 70s and 90s when it was up in the 218s and 150 and 177.
Don't have very many foster parents anymore.
And
It's a lot of work.
and probate's up. All the baby boomers are dying off. There's not any real big, huge fluctuations. I think we'll all get up into the big numbers here, I'm sure. It doesn't seem to be slowing down in the office at all.
Thank you.
No questions?
Thank you.
No questions.
We'll probably have more as we read through this, like, what does this mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and like I say, Kim just wasn't able to get it all in the same graph before she left, but she got to the numbers. But that's all I have for you.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what it looks like now versus 2019.
Mm-hmm, because the graph is all pre-COVID. Yeah, that seems like a long time ago, but
It does, but yet it doesn't.
I know.
Still recovering.
Because when you think of 5 years, that's a lot of time. But we still keep, gloves at the house and masks at the house. And hand sanitation stuff everywhere.
And I think we still have COVID, according to the health district,
Mhm.
we still have COVID.
I know.
No little surge, actually, that and that viral thing going around.
Yeah.
Terrible.
My daughter's a traveling RN in the counties. And she mentions that at least the strain that's going around this time is not near as intense as the first time around.
But it seems to hang on.
It hangs on. It's more like a cold, but it's like this really nasty, long living cold. So are you guys good?
I think we're good. Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
Well, thank you for the information.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. my paperclip off and read the rest of it. I got it.
We will go into recess until on the wrong day. 3 o'clock.
Oh, it's 3
And
o'clock.
we're back for Superior Court update.
And we have a 30-minute.
Good afternoon. It is 3 p.m. and we're here for a Superior Court update with Crystal.
Hello. So I really don't have anything new from last week. So I'm here. Do you have any questions for me?
We got the coolest sheet ever.
Oh,
I don't know where I put it, but I got it. It's back here. Of the caseloads
okay.
for you guys. We got it from the clerk's office.
Mhm.
Showing like 2007 to 2019, and then showing since then. It was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the criminal filings are definitely down.
Yeah, they're
But I
way
would
down.
I would assume that
That
our
juvenile is making up for.
yes, and then our civil cases are up, and I believe our family law is as well. I'd have to look at the reports. But criminal is definitely down.
Passports are, well, I think this year we're gonna do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yes.
decided with the enhanced driver's license, you need a passport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a whole
And the
process.
search warrants.
We're way up.
Yeah,
Try
I'm
being
trying
more
to figure out
thorough.
why the search warrants took a big jump from 357 to 2023, 568.
I would believe it. We get so many search warrant
Is that for
requests.
being thorough though, like getting a warrant for each item, like house,
Well,
car,
they've
bag?
always had to do that.
Hmm.
Yes.
Because of the juvenile laws?
We don't do search warrants unless they're the juvenile ones. If it's a juvenile crime, we don't do search warrants for those unless we're being charged as an adult. Uh-huh. Yes. So they're all, yeah. So we deal with those through my office during business hours. And then at night, they call the judges directly on their cell phones and send them to their emails in the middle of the night. They get called. Pretty much, I would say almost every night.
I thought, well,
They do.
Judge Hill was on the list for a long, long time. So I think
Yes, so right now Judge Gelati's criminal presiding, so when you're criminal presiding, the search warrants come along with you. So she's getting all the after-hour phone calls right now.
That
So-
doesn't sound like fun.
No, they're always very happy when they rotate out of there because there's a lot of search warrants. Well, as you just said, there was what, 500 and some
Yeah.
in 2023?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Get my right paper.
Mhm.
I need to move this paper clip because it's a hindrance to me.
Mhm.
I'm sure most of those are coming after.
Mhm. Yes.
Your bailiff started?
Yes, today.
Cool.
Today's his first day. Mhm.
That's started smooth.
Yes, yeah, so far so good, and we're gonna start another jury trial this Wednesday. It's the third week in a row. So.
Is
we
he
are-
related to Ames in the, is that an Ames?
His last name is Ames.
Jail?
Oh, I
We have
don't
a
think he's
corrections
related, but you're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mark, I
Ames.
think is his first name that's in the jail. I don't think there's any relation.
Okay.
I'll have to ask him. Yeah, I don't know. That's not a very common last name, so he may be related. Mhm.
I heard they were working on Castle on Airway Drive,
The castle.
piece of property that we call the castle. Mostly drug people who live there.
Oh,
Sheriff's Department said they were working on getting rid of them.
oh,
You heard anything?
I haven't heard anything
Might
on
get
that.
some, search warrants.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It does look like a castle, it kind of has a castle wall.
Oh, yeah.
Now that you say that, I know what you're talking about. Okay, is that the nickname for it, the
The
castle?
Short
Interesting.
for the crack castle.
Oh, gosh.
Castle.
Mhm.
Castle.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that will be nice.
Yeah, I heard they were gonna tear it down.
Yeah, I have not heard that. Yeah, that
Maybe
would be
we'll
good.
find, some of our stolen items from the fairgrounds.
I'm afraid what you're gonna find at that place.
Mm.
To be honest with you. almost as bad as the house I bought a couple years ago. Terrible.
Treasures?
I still find treasures.
I don't have anything.
Anything for us?
No, I'm not very exciting. I don't really have updates because we don't have projects like other departments might. We're just trying to survive day to day.
What's your craziest case right now?
I wouldn't say that there's any one in particular that would be crazy. We're just very busy doing different trials, and we have a lot of family law stuff going on, which.
Is family law typically Friday?
So we do our family law docket on Fridays, yes. We do trials on Wednesdays. And then on Mondays, we'll do what we call a special set. So if they need more than 10 minutes aside and it can't go on a docket, we'll do longer hearings, special sets on Mondays. So we've been very busy with family law, very
Has it mostly
busy.
been divorces?
Yeah, a lot of people fight over their parenting plans. So we see them coming in a lot over child support, parenting plans, things like that. So, and those are the cases that never resolve after one time. They just keep coming back.
Right,
So.
forever.
Mhm.
Well, we had an email, I believe, over somebody's parenting plan.
Oh.
Did you get the email? You may have had this out. You looked out.
I didn't get that one.
Okay, well, lucky.
Oh, when they want to complain, do they
Yeah,
email
the
you
individual
guys?
Who is a chronic.
Oh, I think I know who you're speaking about.
Not a whole lot we can do about it.
No,
Call
no.
them, talk to them on the phone.
That's true. That's what a lot of people want, just an ear. So other than that, yeah, just take it day by day.
Judges are doing good.
Judges are all doing great.
Melissa's doing good.
Yeah,
Catching on.
keeping her busy.
Running strong.
I don't think they understand. We're like, there's a lot going on. You're going to be very busy. And then whenever they come, they're like, wow, this is nothing what I expected it to be. I'm like, yeah, we got a lot going on. And in district court, they've all told me, you know what you're doing a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. It's not like that in Superior Court. You come each day, you may not even be doing what you thought you were going to be doing when you came in the morning. It's just constantly changing. So I keep them on their toes.
It's like Kevin's purchase a couple of years ago. It's just a big surprise.
It is a big surprise. Yeah, each day is different. You
And she's
never know
able
what
to
it's going to
hear
bring.
more, court cases than the previous.
Yes.
judge.
So that's been
probably
very
nice.
nice.
She may not be enjoying it, but.
I think she's
Here's
enjoying
the
it.
backlog.
Yes, yeah. It's,
Good.
it makes your day go by fast when you're busy. So learning lots of new
Well, she was a
things.
court commissioner.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
she's
she
probably-
was, how long was she with us for? I think 7 years. She was our court commissioner and then 3 in district court. So yeah, she came with experience, which was nice. She's doing great. Yeah, they're all doing really well and getting along well, and that's all you can ask for. Yeah, no complaints.
Nothing else? All right, well, thank you for
All
coming.
right, well, thank you. Oh, yeah, see you next week. Enjoy your
Have a
afternoon.
good day. We'll go into recess until 3:15 when we're back for district court update. Good afternoon, it's 3:15 and we are here for district court update. We have Judge Quinn and Desiree.
We're here.
Good afternoon.
Hello, he
How are
brought me
you?
my diploma.
Yeah, just laughing. They're missing the main page. I just told them I don't like them.
He has a wedding waiting for him. Important
They
things.
came early. They're not waiting for me. Well, they are waiting, but they came early. They never come early. So,
They're excited.
yeah.
Okay. Security grant.
May I do that to me?
We are in communication with Tom, so we are mostly on the same page there. He sent me an email update, I can forward it to you two if you'd like. I've already sent it to Commissioner Jones, just because he's been in the loop this whole time. But if you guys would like it, let me know. I can include you in those as well. Heads up, I'm gonna go out of order here. For community court this summer, we have a couple people we may be looking at bringing on as volunteers, and or potentially maybe a part-time paid volunteer under grant funding. So just something to put in your ear that could be coming later. I'm not really very familiar with the process because it's not something we've done before, but we're just beginning stages of looking into it.
We have 2 students for sure that would be part of that. And then one of them's also a teacher at Big Bend, and she wants to kind of do something in the summer with our program. So 2 of the kids, one of the kids that would be maybe coming would be a student from Big Bend, and then now Judge Carson's daughter may do some stuff with our court as well too for school. So
yeah. Another thing, part information, part question. So we have done a couple of different position reviews for district court. We adjusted the clerk positions. Mine and Brittany's had reviews done. The only ones that we really haven't looked at, other than Amy, is the community court specialist since we started the program, and probation. And probation hasn't been looked at since, like, at all that I am aware of. So back in January, I asked HR to do some compensation reviews. I checked in with them to see where they're at on that. And unfortunately, they haven't had any time to work on that just because of their caseload. So I don't know. Historically, I was always told that the compensation review information is really only accepted if it comes from HR. If that's the case, then I will wait for them. If it's something that you are willing to let us gather the information, then I can try to get that ball rolling. But I don't want to do that if it's not something that you'll accept from us, and if it has to come from HR, then I'll just wait. Any thoughts? No thoughts?
Kind of lost me at caseload.
What's that? Well, he just said, unfortunately, I've not had time to work on these comps. My workload, not caseload,
Okay,
sorry.
okay.
My workload has increased quite heavily over the past few weeks, and I've had to reprioritize workload responsibilities. I'll get to these when I can.
How many is it?
So it's the 2 community court specialists, the 2 probation officers, and the probation manager.
5.
Mm-hmm. 3 positions, 5 people.
So who is working? So what are you looking for us? Just our thoughts on this, or?
If I can gather the information, or if I need to wait for HR to have time to do it.
You're going to have to probably wait for them.
Okay.
That's why I was looking if we had our meeting with them still tomorrow, which we do at 3 o'clock.
Oh, kind of like 3 o'clock. Still getting used to the new schedule.
Right?
I always feel like if there's any information you can provide, it kind of gives them a base and helps them go faster, but that's just me. I don't even know if they would take it. I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah. I feel like when I had kind of looked at it before, it needed to come, from them. So if I did the research, they would have to verify, that sort of thing. So it doesn't necessarily save any time.
How long ago did you make that request?
January 21st.
And then they were probably waiting until we made the decision on the other position.
Maybe.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I'm not going to presume to know what they're thinking.
We have more answers than we have questions.
Yeah.
We have more questions than we have answers.
What's that? That's the community court administrator?
The community court coordinator. Yep.
But that one was more urgent because of the.
Yeah,
The exempt issue, yeah.
and that might have been why it got.
Prioritized over the others, yeah, I know it
Got
was.
that done.
Yeah.
That one got done because
Yes.
time was of the essence.
Correct.
So I guess we could just hear more back next week, kind of where they're at with that. But
Well, as long as we're just gonna pop in and always
I'm
like.
gonna check with them tomorrow and see.
Yeah, just ask them.
So ask them tomorrow where they're at with that.
Perfect. I emailed him this morning, I think, and asked him if he could at least provide me
Are you
with
working
some
with
sort of
Dan?
a ETA.
Is Dan your contact?
No, it's Jonathan.
Okay, Jonathan.
One of the other HR consultants.
You haven't met Dan?
Newer than
I haven't met Dan
Jonathan,
yet, so.
yeah. He's been through the office, but he probably went there. Other than that, we just have wanted to talk about Moses Lake a little bit and the fact that we are utilizing that space. So I don't know what potential plans are for Moses Lake as a whole. I know there's a lot of talk about with when the Law and Justice Building is remodeled, what do we do? And we are getting to where we're bringing more back to Moses Lake. We most recently brought infraction hearings back over there. We had discontinued hearing infractions because of transporting money back and forth. And people only had until the end of the business day to pay or would be assigned to a payment plan. But we've since changed a lot of our policies. So now people have more time to pay, and now there's all sorts of different ways that people can pay.
Do that electronically now?
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
So now it's just a lot easier. So we brought those infractions back to Moses Lake, and we're having a huge turnout just because we have so much of our population base there. So we're looking at potentially bringing other hearings back to Moses Lake. Currently, we have 2 full-time clerks stationed over there. We have 2 full-time probation officers, the probation manager, one of our community court positions, and then our 2 other community court positions are over there for appointments and as needed. So the space is being utilized.
Judge Barlow is currently over there, and he's reporting a huge increase of people showing up to their hearings, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Especially if they're from
Closer.
there. So our thought was to move our initial arraignments that are Moses Lake cases. Moses Lake cases are considered pretty much Moses Lake and Warden.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping that same result will go through. It'll have less people probably with suspended licenses driving between there and here.
And maybe create some less confusion too, so.
Well, yeah, and there, and the turnout's been remarkable.
I just think of our friend Moses Tracy, who
Yeah.
would take the bus and ride a bike. Whatever happened to him? I haven't seen him for years.
In a while. That's good news.
It could be a good thing,
Yeah,
yeah, a good problem to have.
Yeah.
He was always very nice.
So kind of when I had this job, my goal was to try to see if we could get Moses back, just because I feel like having access to it, people having access to it's important. I think a lot of times it's been because of the money and things of that nature, but so and there's a tendency to have a little boredom over there when you're all by yourself, because there's only really for the in-court stuff, there's just one clerk and the judge. The probation's there, but they're not always in court all the time, so it's just us, and keeping everyone busy is a little bit better too, but turnout's been reported as being great for infractions, which is good. The more you get people coming to court, the less warrants, less people going to jail. So it's worked out good.
And the way that our criminal cases are set right now is that if it occurred in Moses Lake or around Moses Lake, then that case through a trial is heard in Moses Lake, with the exception of the arraignment. All the arraignments are over here. So that creates a little bit of confusion when they come here for their first hearing, and then they come here for their second hearing only to be told that they're in Moses Lake. So if we can start them in the location where they're going to end, I think that that will help a lot. We just have to figure out if we can get interpreters and the workload on the clerk and that sort of thing. But it is definitely our next step if we can do it, is to bring arraignments over there.
How were the new?
Does the county get any revenue from infractions at all?
Yes. I couldn't tell you that exact breakdown right now, but yes, a portion of that goes to current expenses.
So
There you go.
having them come to court and paying their bills.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
Yeah, otherwise, it just doesn't get paid,
Yeah.
goes to collections.
The county gets a percentage on the criminal too. It's just less because of the LFOs, which is a term that you'll become really familiar with at budget time. But the legal financial obligation. So essentially, if somebody is determined to be indigent, there's hardly any fines that we can assess anymore on the criminal cases. They all get waived. So those from budget year to budget year, that revenue line is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. It's just going to continue with that trend. But the infractions, even the infractions now, there are options for converting some of the fines to community service, having reduced payment plans, that sort of thing, if they have financial restrictions.
Here's their all the revenue. How are the new employees?
Just before we came.
Sorry. How's the training for the new employees?
It's going. Training's always difficult, but so far so good. We have signed acceptances. We just got one for the last position today, so we'll be closing out that requisition. The last two are going to start on March 31st. So we, in theory, should have about a week where one of my two leads isn't training, and then they'll go back into training. But mid-April, we should be hopefully done training everyone, would be the goal, mid to end April. And so starting May, when concerts and all that begin, I'm hoping everyone stays and gets rooted, and hopefully we'll be in a better position.
I've been presiding since January, and we've hired 6 people under my short 2 months of time, 3 months now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not even 3 full months.
Right. It's a lot.
We've
6
lost a
people.
department head or two in the last little bit, so yeah, it's a time of transition.
But hopefully we're getting the right people that want to stick around. We'll see.
It's really, really hard. Everyone thinks they know what the position is and thinks that they want it and are prepared, and then they get in the door, and that's not always the case.
Well, I was surprised how many people started district court and then within the county, and it's like, oh, I started district court, and then they kind of move throughout. So you definitely are the training ground for.
Yeah, I'd like to be like where they end. How do I get to? How do I get to be that? But no, it's good. We've had some good people.
Probably the coroner's office. Not a good place to end.
For you and
I'm like, Craig, every time you call me, I just think, oh, it's like if I never call you about something bad or what you just did. Coroner's calling me about.
Right.
He's definitely, should not have made light of that, but he does a very, very, the coroner's whole office, he did a very, very difficult job.
Our most recent clerk that left us, while losing people is always difficult, she started in September of 2022, was one of those that we took more of a chance on, didn't necessarily meet the criteria on paper. Couple odd things during the recruitment process, but went with our gut instinct anyways. And she was great, and she loved the job so much that she moved to Spokane. She's finishing her degree and applying for law school. So while we're sad to lose her, obviously that's a huge win for us. It's a huge win for her, but we're losing a great employee. So, not all of the losses are bad. I mean, people get married, they move. Those are all great things.
Well,
right? That's what I said.
I've tried to make connections for her to do that. So I had her talk with Brett, and I had her talk with Brett about doing some remote stuff. So you guys might have to approve some remote stuff.
Oh, we did for the prosecutor's office. So we have to, with the best lawsuit, we have to make it an option. If we do it for one, we have to, it has to be equal.
I'm actively kind of trying to seek people for remote positions. So we have lawyers that come that can at least appear in court Whether they're physically there or not, that's okay. I'll deal with it. But
There comes a point that you just need people.
in district court, we have 2 prosecutors total right now.
Normally, we
We're used
have
to
2
full-
for Moses and 2 for Ephrata.
Yeah, usually 4, so it's a little slower. But we're getting
That's
through.
really cool.
Time's
Well,
up.
your administrator, isn't she an attorney now, our previous administrator?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Chelsea Stevens, I don't know what her last name, but she started in the clerk's office probably 10 years ago, and then went to school to become an attorney. So it does happen.
We train great attorneys and great judges. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Great Superior Court judges.
Yep.
Anyways, that's all we have, unless you have anything for us.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
saw your emails with Tom.
Yeah.
Did you get your answers? You're set?
For now, yeah.
Okay.
Just hurry up and wait. It's just
Well, it's
nice
good
to know
that
that the
you're
ball's
so
moving is really all that matters.
We're all patient.
We'll go into recess until
Enjoy your
our
day.
public
Rest of your day.
defense update arrives.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, it's 3:34 and we are here for a public defense update. Hello, sir.
Hi. I don't know that I have any news for anybody, but
With some good news then.
We heard a rumor.
there doesn't seem to be much bad news.
Oh,
You heard some kind of a rumor?
Yeah, from district court, they just said that Judge Nguyen found a couple of attorneys that could possibly work remote for you.
For me? Attorneys?
He's working on it.
Oh, well, that's news to me.
I don't think it was an attorney.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he said attorney to work remote.
No,
Yeah.
She's not an attorney yet.
Yeah, he's got a clerk she's finishing school up and,
Oh, maybe, okay, to work remote.
yeah.
I thought you said there was a couple, okay. I maybe got really excited and jumped to conclusions, so.
I think she's planning on finishing up, I talked to her a little while ago. They're talking about, got another year or something to go and then she'd, she's, if everything goes right for her, go to law school then. And by the time she becomes a lawyer, I'll be about ready to retire. So.
Yeah, I was thinking it was closer, but maybe not.
But yeah, I've talked to her a little bit. So we're thinking about that a little bit. She could do some work for her. I'm still kind of thinking about it. The advantage is that she knows how to use what we call jabs, the system, the court system and stuff. And so she could, she understands what people should be doing for court and that kind of thing. She could help us with that. Still looking at that. Yeah. So, and we have, in fact, I think it's still approved, but I have a position that's approved. We haven't done a full job description yet, but for a client support specialist, which is what we were thinking about. Anyway. Yeah, if you could find me a lawyer, that'd be good.
Well, I was maybe jumping to conclusions, so.
All right.
I was just getting really excited.
Speaking of that, our caseloads are doing just fine right now. Of course, the Supremes have not changed the caseloads yet, so nobody's heard from them. So I hope that's good news. That they plan to maybe they're dragging their feet because they don't want to decrease the caseloads. But
I thought the AG's office had that, well, I know it's different, but the AG, our governor announced the AG's office would have a large budget cut. He was going to start with his former office.
no,
I don't know if it was really implemented. I should look.
yeah, theoretically that doesn't really
It doesn't impact it, but
affect
it
us that
kind
much, but
of, sometimes when it goes in one spot,
but it kind of changes. Yeah, I mean, I think
starts a direction.
well, when the state's out of money, I mean,
Kind of compels you to.
Well, I mean, not that they fund public defense, but they've been talking of, they've been we're working really hard for that. And if that, if the state's just not able to kick in, how do you put more burden on the counties, So, I mean, that may be a big part of what they're thinking and why they're dragging their feet. Yeah.
I don't know. They
Seems
usually
like-
don't think about.
Well,
county.
they usually don't, but but you'd think they would think about it.
They're probably thinking, what do we do when the county says we can't do that and gives it to us?
Well, and I know it's just one or two people that are talking, but at our board meeting, the WDA board meetings, I mean, there were a couple people that expressed that that's why we need to do caseload limits, is so that it forces the state to help fund the counties, but until the state does fund counties, I think that's wishful thinking. But that was, I mean, that's some of the talk, or it was. We haven't talked about it for a long time because we're just sitting on it. Anyway, so yeah, other than that, not too much to tell you unless you have a specific question for me.
Can't think of anything.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just kind of boring. We can plug along.
Hey, boring is good. Boring is good.
Yeah. Our trying to take care of the clients, and help them out. I did just finish my, that's why I'm all dressed up. I had finishing up a juvenile case that just got it done. Hopefully I don't have to bug juvenile court very much anymore.
Is this one for because
What's that? Well, I was just taking some cases, we had the transition between our new contractor and I was doing some conflicts because he came from the prosecutor's office. And then we had the problem we had last year, and there were a few clients that said they didn't want to waive conflict, and so I took a couple of those.
Well, I will say we got the caseloads for Superior Court and the juvenile division. They are strong. They are one of the heavy hitters here for.
Well, we're operating under the current caseload limits. We're operating under that with no problem. There seems to be, I mean, he's probably got more serious cases than you'd like to have, but they're fine. There's no issues right there. We have we have the two regular conflict attorneys that take overload and conflicts, and then we have a couple of the other contractors, usually district court guys, that take a case occasionally to help us out on a conflict issue, But yeah, no, things seem to be clicking pretty good up there at juvenile court.
Oh, good though.
Yeah.
All right. That's good to hear. You've seen attorneys.
Right. If there wasn't this threat of the caseload limits coming down on us, we're probably good for a while. Right, right where we sit. We would like to have more in-house attorneys on staff rather than contractors, but we've used contractors more than we want because that's who we can get right now. But because contractors, you don't have as much supervision or control, and the only real way to kind of get them to work, do the thing you want them to do is just you threaten them with not renewing a contract, and they all know that we need them right now, and so that's not really a threat either. So but on the other hand, we do have a pretty good group, and most of them work pretty hard. and do their stuff, so. So, yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with where we're at right now.
Anything else for Brett?
I don't know, nothing else.
Thank you, Brett.
All right,
Thank
thank you. You know where to find me.
We do, thank you.
We'll go into recess until prosecuting attorney's office update at 3:45. Good afternoon, it's 3:45 PM and we are here for the prosecuting attorney office update with prosecutor Kevin McCray.
Hello, I don't have a whole lot this week. Barbara will be here at 4 to discuss that litigation, which should be pretty straightforward. We've posted our remote attorney position that went up today, so, or Friday, I guess technically, so we'll see how that works out. Yeah, other than that, I don't really have a whole lot.
How's
You
it
guys have
going over there? Good as could be.
Yeah, I mean, we need people. That's been, since I've been here, that's been the whole challenge, is getting enough bodies to manage all the cases. You probably saw on iFiber, the fair shooter sentence hit the news, so.
What was it? I didn't see it.
The fair shooter, he pled to 2 counts of assault, 3 unlawful possession of a firearm first, and a firearm enhancement, and received 90 to 144 weeks at JRA.
I thought you said weeks instead of days. I'm like, oh, tell me it's not just days.
No, it's weeks. He was 15.
Oh.
So it'd be in Chelan.
No, probably Echo Glen.
Oh, okay.
So he basically goes to the state juvenile.
You said assault 3?
Mm-hmm. We couldn't prove it, and we couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt and that he intended to actually shoot. Looks like he was pulling the gun out and it went out, and
he didn't know what he was doing.
Didn't know what he was doing and it went off.
Shouldn't have had a gun in his pocket.
Yeah, shouldn't have a gun to begin with. Shouldn't have been pulling it out and it went off. So that's why the assault 3 versus an assault 2 or assault 1.
Makes sense. Unfortunate, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Did they figure out whose gun it belonged to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the dad's gun.
Was the dad aware that he had it?
No. Do we have anybody on, Caitlin?
Well, we are recorded. We can
Oh, yeah,
go
that's
to
true.
executive.
No, can't go to exec, not that I can go to executive for, but, okay.
We can read about it in the paper.
Yeah.
Or tell you later. Yeah.
That's all public knowledge.
So that's about all I had, unless you guys have.
And then we have the one at 4 PM.
Well, that's the same. I just pulled it up, in Google, and that's what it is.
And I guess the other thing is we just got a 3 strikes conviction this morning, so.
What does that mean?
Just this morning?
Yeah.
3 strikes, you're out.
Well, yeah, but are you actually out?
Yep.
Really?
It's a life sentence. It's
Oh.
our second one we've gotten this year, so.
Wow.
Wow. This year?
Or I guess no. Well, in the last year.
What was it for?
Domestic violence, burglary and robbery. Basically broke in, beat up his girlfriend, baby mama, and stole her phone.
What was that? What were the 2 previous?
I think the previous one was an assault 2 DV, I think. I gotta check that. The other one was a plea agreement to a criminal mischief while armed with a firearm. And that's a strike, so. And then I have an appeal due here fairly soon on another 3rd strike case that we did last year, I guess, in 2024, so. That's kind of, we don't do very many of those.
You're on 2 strikes, you would really straighten up.
Or leave the state, one or the other, yeah. But no,
Just be easier to straighten out.
that doesn't really seem to convince people for some reason. Yeah.
I don't know.
So other than that, don't really have much. Rebecca's getting better, but not there yet. So she's working from home part-time.
Got any attorneys looking to come here, or any indication of anybody coming? Or?
We got one coming this summer. We got a one intern for the summer, but that's about it. And then we got one who's a 1L that was a former legal assistant. But she'll come, but that's 2 years out, so.
All right.
Anything else? Anything more for us?
No.
All right. And we will go into recess until 4 p.m. We are back for Cintas potential litigation anticipated executive session. Good afternoon. It is 4 p.m. and we are here for a Cintas discussion with potential litigation anticipated executive session. Are you wanting to just roll right into executive?
Yeah, I think so.
How long would you like?
5 or 10.
Yeah, not more than 10.
Okay, so start with 5.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're going to go into executive session for litigation, RCW 42.3011101I for 5 minutes, coming out at 4:06 p.m. It is 4:06 p.m. and we are out of executive session.
Mr. Chair, I move that we join the class action lawsuit for Cintas.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
There appears to be about $1,000 that we will recoup in this lawsuit.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes as stated by Commissioner Carter.
Okay.
You guys have anything else?
Nope.
No.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful Monday.
It is 4:06 p.m.
It's
and
been a
we are
marathon.
going to end today.